Good morning. I'm Amanda Hansen here at the Action News 5 Digital Desk. It's Friday. I know a lot of you excited about the weekend. Some of you maybe even woke up to a little rain this morning. I know over in Arkansas they were seeing some rain early on this morning during the morning show, and it is a first alert weather day. So we want to make sure that you're prepared. We don't want you to be scared of what's headed our way, but of course we want to make sure you have all the information you need to make sure that you are safe when severe weather does happen. How about this though? This is a beautiful live look from our High 5 camera here in Midtown Memphis. The sun coming up across the Mid-South. You can see a little breezy out there. We're expected to have some winds around 30 miles per hour at least this morning. So that's something to be thinking about if you have any kind of items outside that you're worried might get blown around by the wind. Make sure you're taking care of that before you head out the door. Another live look. This is from downtown Memphis. The M Bridge, the new bridge, as many like to refer it to. It looks like there's no problems. Traffic moving along quite smoothly there. But of course, as I was mentioning, this is a first alert weather day. We have all this information on our website right now, but we want to get to meteorologist Brittany Bryant because she's really breaking this down and giving you a more extended look at the timing and what you need to know as far as the severe weather goes. Areas in northern Mississippi are at a level 4 risk. Parts of the Memphis area a level 3. So what does that mean? What's that going to mean for you, and when's it coming through? Here's meteorologist Brittany Bryant.
Good morning. This just in, a wind advisory issued for every single county here in the Mid-South that lasts from 1 p.m. through 3 a.m. And that's because those wind gusts could get over 40 miles per hour. I've already seen 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts. We'll keep those close to 30 miles per hour through the morning. But again, after 1 o'clock, those winds could spike even higher, especially in eastern Arkansas later on tonight. If you get a severe thunderstorm, though, those winds could go over 50 miles per hour. That red color there, that's the area that has the greatest instability, all those ingredients there for severe weather. Now, if I zoom in closer, you'll notice that red, or that 4 out of 5 risk level, does include most of North Mississippi, several counties in eastern Arkansas, Helena, West Helena included in this, as well as Forest City, and part of Shelby County too. I don't want you to get too hung up with exactly where it starts and ends though, because all of us have a threat for severe weather. Even for the rest of West Tennessee, there's a 3 out of 5. The main thing that we'll see with these thunderstorms will be severe thunderstorm warnings because of damaging wind gusts. However, this area highlighted in red in North Mississippi that I was talking about, that spot has the greatest threat for tornadoes. And let me show you why. So right now we have a line of thunderstorms moving through some areas in eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee, way north of I-40 right now. Memphis southward has been mostly dry through the morning. We may squeeze out a stray shower though as we go through the morning and this afternoon through lunchtime. I'm not completely ruling out rain anywhere here in the Mid-South, but you'll notice the bulk of this is over towards Harrisburg and Wynne, Blytheville, Dyersburg, even into Ripley, Tennessee, and Brownsville. Might see some of that rain, but North Mississippi continues to remain dry for the entire afternoon. We'll keep it dry there. And this is 4 o'clock today. Notice we're even seeing breaks in the clouds in North Mississippi. So instability will be skyrocketing in this area in North Mississippi, which is why that risk level is higher there. By 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, the main line starting to work into eastern Arkansas. There could be some isolated severe thunderstorms out ahead of this. So see those little circles there? Those are those isolated storms near Holly Springs and Batesville and Oxford. That line pushes through Shelby County and the rest of West Tennessee and North Mississippi around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. But this is out of here after midnight, and you'll be done with all that rain finally. Rainfall totals with this system will be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches for most of us. Could get up to 2 inches near Blytheville and Dyersburg, where we'll see that heavy rain early in the day. And we have temperatures near 80 degrees helping to fuel those thunderstorms with all the warm air and that moisture in place. 80 degrees in Memphis, 76 is the high in Brownsville, only 71 in Dyersburg. So the rain going to keep temperatures down there, but areas where it's dry today, 83 in Clarksdale, mid-80s in Oxford and Ashland. Will also top out around 80 degrees in Helena and Marianna, but again, where we'll see rain, a little cooler, 71 in Harrisburg and Blytheville today. This weekend looks really great though. 72 degrees on Saturday, 73 on Sunday, and we get sunshine this weekend. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover late in the day Sunday and may even see a stray shower, but most of the area remains dry. And behind Sunday night's cold front, temperatures drop down to the 60s next week.
All right, again, we do have all this information for you broken down on our website, actionnews5.com. Another thing I want to make sure that you're aware of and that you have handy today, it's a good time to make sure you have that Action News 5 weather app downloaded to your mobile device. There you can look at live radar, you can get the hourly forecast and keep an eye on those watches and warnings. You can also tailor it to be able to pinpoint where you are and what warnings are going to be most important for you to know. Also, it's free. It's a free download. Just search WMC in your app store. You can download that for free. So new this morning, I want to let you know that police are investigating another hit and run on the streets of Memphis. This time, South Cooper Avenue and Union Avenue right here in the Midtown area. We do have video from the scene. Police say just after 9 last night, a man was hit by a dark blue vehicle that drove away. They didn't stop. The victim was taken to Regional 1 in critical condition. If you know anything that could help police track down the driver, they ask that you call Crime Stoppers, 901-528-CASH. The victim did not cross at a protected crosswalk. Again, this is a reminder to make sure that you're slowing down out there and keeping your eye out for pedestrians.
So this is just another reminder that pedestrians, we must ensure that you use caution when you cross the street. You should always try to cross at the protected crosswalk, and drivers must continue to stay alert and obey the posted speed, because slowing down can save a life.
The victim did not cross at a protected crosswalk, as we mentioned a little bit earlier. So if you know anything, police want to hear from you, call Crime Stoppers at that number again, 528-CASH. This is another story we've been following, a high-profile lawsuit against the city of Memphis, now dismissed. Alicia Franklin claims that she was raped back in 2021 by the same man accused of kidnapping and killing Eliza Fletcher. Her lawsuit against the city claims if police had properly investigated that assault, Fletcher would still be alive right now. Action News 5's Bria Bolden shares how the judge decided to dismiss Franklin's lawsuit and also what her attorneys say they plan to do next.
Alicia Franklin and her attorney, Jeff Rosenblum, disappointed but not giving up.
She wanted there to be accountability on the part of the city when you consider, how they disregarded her complaint and how they disrespected her allegations of rape when they really knew it happened.
The city of Memphis, who made the request for dismissal or to strike anything related to Eliza Fletcher or untested rape kits, mum on the ruling.
The case is really considered pending, and I cannot comment on pending litigation.
However, Judge Wagner did find that the city of Memphis has a duty to investigate crimes against citizens, and Franklin does feel distress from Fletcher's murder. The catch-22, Wagner writes, is the public duty doctrine, which, quote, requires a cause or action based on reckless misconduct. She says the law provides the city with immunity from Franklin's negligent misconduct claims.
We feel that if we do take this up to the Court of Appeals, eventually the Supreme Court of Tennessee will hear this issue and clarify this issue and not give the city, in a case like this, where the court finds there's a duty, where the court finds there's a causal connection between that breach and an injury, and where the court finds it's operational, not discretionary, that they'll say the public duty doctrine is no longer a bar to this claim.
Wagner also agreed with the facts in the suit. Officers consciously disregarded, quote, a substantial and unjustifiable risk of such a nature that its disregard constitutes a gross deviation from the standard of care. She goes on to say, quote, they're both concerning and, if left unexplained, disappointing.
I think we all need to stand up and ask more and expect more and demand more from our police department and from our administrators. And if we all do that, I think we'll get more.
Again, that was Bria Bolden reporting for you there. So what's next for Franklin? Well, Rosenblum says that they have 30 days to appeal that judge's ruling or file a motion to reconsider. They say right now they're still deciding what course of action they plan to take with all of this. Well, 3 out of the 5 suspects wanted in connection to a car chase that turned into a shootout in South Haven are now in police custody. Officers pursued a stolen Nissan Maxima around 1 a.m. on Wednesday in the area of State Line Road and Horn Lake Road. Police say that one suspect jumped out of the car and was in the process of stealing another vehicle when they fired shots at officers, and they returned fire. So from there, the driver of the stolen car also drove away from the scene with 3 more passengers inside. Police say while officers pursued the car into Memphis, the suspects opened fire, and the officers from what we understand, say that they got away. So I'm trying to see if I can find their mugshots here. We have their mugshots. Here we go. Travion Holloman, Martavius Carpenter, and Gabrielle Crockett are in police custody. Police are still looking for Michael Harris Jr. and Kyle Dotson, the very latest in this case. Hey, we are off to a stellar start for this year's St. Jude Dream Home giveaway, sponsored by Al Sack and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Tickets sold out in record time last year, and we are already trending in that right direction. So we want to make sure that you have the information you need. If you want to snag your tickets now, just call the number 1-800-224-6681. You can also visit dreamhome.org to snag your tickets today. So here's what we know about this year's Dream Home. It's being built in Arlington by Southern Serenity Homes, and its estimated value is a whopping $575,000. Big ones. We're talking 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bath, and a kitchen, a chef-inspired kitchen, chef-inspired, which sounds pretty awesome to me. And also a huge outdoor living space. It can all be yours for just $100. And we have an added bonus for you we want to tell you about this morning. If you reserve your tickets today, you're eligible to also win the ultimate Memphis basketball experience. That season tickets to the Memphis Grizzlies, season tickets to the Memphis Tigers men's basketball, and a Peabody Hotel weekend getaway. Sounds nice, right? This prize is only good for today, so you want to make sure you don't wait. Again, you can call that number 1-800-224-6681. You can also head over to dreamhome.org and get your tickets now. Amanda Hansen here at the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Did you know each year approximately 35,000 people in the U.S. are diagnosed with multiple myeloma, and of that, more than 20% of all cases occur in Black people? And although patients within the Black communities are less likely to have a more aggressive form of the disease, they are twice as likely to die from multiple myeloma because it often goes undetected and it is spread and progressed. So joining me now to talk more about a new campaign out there raising awareness, we have Tiffany Williams and Teresa Elam Walker joining us. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. How are you doing?
Good morning. Doing well. Thank you.
I'm glad that we're talking about this topic because I believe it is so important for people here in the Memphis area to hear this and raise awareness. There's a new campaign we're going to talk more about. It's called That's My Word, driving some of that awareness. But I know both of you have been impacted by multiple myeloma different ways. But Tiffany, I'd like to start with you. I know that you were diagnosed with multiple myeloma at the age of 46. Can you talk to me about how you found out about that diagnosis and maybe some of the symptoms that you experienced that led you to your doctor?
Sure. It was a sudden and severe onset of back pain that led to my diagnosis. It was the first thing that clued me in that something wasn't right. I knew that it wasn't just, I hurt my back, I pulled something, and I listened to that intuition and that pain, and I made an appointment to be checked out. As you mentioned, Black people are disproportionately impacted by multiple myeloma, and I was 46 years old, much younger than the average non-Black person diagnosed with multiple myeloma, and I just knew something wasn't right. The more common symptoms for multiple myeloma are bone pain, fatigue, and frequent infections. And those are just a few of the common symptoms. And not everyone presents that way. So I say it's really important to listen to your body.
That's exactly what I was going to say, is just listening to your body and then you take action. Because I think a lot of times some people are like, oh, it's nothing, this is just going to go away. But you took action and you got that early detection. How was that so beneficial for you when it came to treatment and that sort of thing?
I think it was super beneficial. I think I'm here this morning able to share my story with you 9.5 years later because I listened and I acted and I was diagnosed early and treatment was initiated early. Those are all things that lead to better outcomes. And as you mentioned, it's an incurable cancer, but treatable. And when we can treat early and diagnose early and treat early, I think that leads to really good outcomes. And I think it's critical.
And you're a support leader for a support group now. Can you talk to me about some of the things that maybe you have emphasized to people that are dealing with this and being a leader of a group like that?
Yeah, sure. I would say the most important message I have for my support group members, as well as anyone I meet with multiple myeloma, is to have a multiple myeloma specialist leading your care team. It is critical towards better outcomes and longer lifespan potentially.
Well, Tiffany, I appreciate you sharing your story and just, where you are now, what you're doing, and how you're helping others that are dealing with this as well. Tricia, I know that your brother was diagnosed very young age, 48 years old. Some people might know him, Guru, famous American rapper, also record producer, and had multiple myeloma, and at 48, just a few months after he was diagnosed. Can you talk to me about your story and what you experienced with your brother, and just share a little background on that with our viewers this morning?
Sure. So my brother, as you mentioned, passed away at the age of 48 from multiple myeloma. I actually don't know when he was diagnosed because he chose not to share that information, and he also did not receive treatment. So one of the reasons I'm involved in this campaign, and it's so important to me, is to really urge folks, particularly members of the Black community, Black men, to take those steps, get the diagnosis, get the early treatment, because this didn't have to happen. So it's heartbreaking for our family, but it's definitely made us more aware and more proactive in terms of our own health. Tiffany was talked about the various symptoms. What happened with me is I had a regular blood test that indicated I had a low white blood cell count. And that's something that could potentially lead to multiple myeloma, particularly because there's also a genetic aspect to this disease. And so once they knew that my brother had passed away from that, I had to have more tests. And it's something that I have to constantly check every 3 months in terms of my blood cell count. So, this is really important information to get out to folks. To not be afraid to go to the doctor, to check everything out on a regular basis, and to take action.
And I think it's incredible to hear about just how you're taking action now to help get the word out about this campaign, and for people to make sure that they are taking those little things that they notice with their body seriously. And just, I'm so sorry about what happened with your brother and the way it's impacted you. I do want to talk about this campaign, though, because I know it's something that you're passionate about being involved in. It's called That's My Word. So can you share a little bit more about this campaign and what they're really doing to try to raise that awareness about this?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for your kind words. Yes, this campaign is so important because it is about educating, spreading the word about the illness, about the disease, and about the fact, as Tiffany talked about, that with early diagnosis and early treatment, one can go on and live a long golden life as she's doing. So it doesn't have to, people don't have to end up the way my brother did. And so it's really important. And that's what this campaign is doing. It's spreading the word. It's asking people to join with us, spreading the word, getting their own information, finding out about multiple myeloma, and taking action. Visiting us at that'smywordmm.com, following on social media at that'smywordmm, and being a part of this and spreading it in their community and among their family members.
I really appreciate both of y'all coming on here, sharing your story. I know it's not always easy to probably talk about these things, but it does have a major impact in getting the word out and helping others that are out there. Tiffany, if we have you there, any last thoughts you want to leave our viewers with today before we wrap things up here?
Yeah, thank you. I would, again, encourage people to go to those sites and make your own personal pledge. if you are impacted or living with multiple myeloma, or you love someone who's living with multiple myeloma, join the campaign and help us to increase awareness to improve outcomes in our community.
Well, Tiffany, Tricia, I appreciate both of y'all coming here on the Action News 5 digital desk and really spreading the message about something that's so important to so many people right here in the Memphis area and beyond. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Amanda Hanson back here at the Action News 5 digital desk. You know, we've been talking about March being Colon Cancer Awareness Month, and so we want to make sure that you are informed with all of the health information you need to make sure that you are doing what you can. And joining me now to talk more about this is Dr. Mariah Wright, colorectal surgeon with St. Francis Medical Partners. Dr. Wright, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. You know, I'm glad to have you here on the digital desk talking about this topic. I think it's so important to make sure that people have the information they need to make sure that they're making proper healthcare decisions. So I guess starting things off, I know screening is so important in ordering to catch things like this early. What are those screening guidelines and how have they kind of changed?
So currently the colorectal cancer screening guidelines have changed. They used to be starting at age 50 for folks who were considered normal risk. Now we've decreased that down to age 45. And that's because we were noticing that there were a lot of folks who were getting diagnosed with more advanced cancers at that initial screening. So we decided to bump that age down so that we could catch more people in time to potentially cure their disease. We estimate that about 140,000 people will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer this year, and about 56,000 people will die from the disease. It's very preventable and treatable, and if caught early, we could save another 40,000 lives.
You know, I do have a question. I was curious. A lot of times, over the pandemic, a lot of people were avoiding some of these types of screenings, things like that. How important is it to catch this early? And when it comes to the symptoms, do you not really start seeing symptoms of this until it has progressed to a point, and that's why early detection is so important?
Absolutely. So there were tons of people who either weren't able to get the colonoscopies that were recommended by their primary care providers or decided to put it off because they didn't want to be in a healthcare situation, which was totally understandable at the time. The reason that ends up hurting all of us in the long run is that when we do a colonoscopy, we're able to catch polyps before they even turn into cancer and prevent you from getting cancer in the first place. By no means is colonoscopy our only screening option. We can check the stool for blood. We can check the stool for abnormal DNA that would be coming from one of those polyps. But if those blood or stool DNA tests are abnormal, the next thing that we're going to recommend is a colonoscopy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the various ways to get screened. You hear a lot now, too, about these test kits that people can order. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of another way that people are kind of keeping a check of their health when it comes to their colon health?
Absolutely. So the most common one that we will use for colon cancer screening is the Cologuard test. And with that one, they send you a kit and you have your bowel movement into a little hammock, and then you put it in a jar and you send it off in the mail. And then the lab is going to take a look at it and check for abnormal DNA and for blood. And if either of those things comes back, then they're going to tell you that your test was positive and that you need to be set up for a colonoscopy. The upside of that test is there's no bowel prep and essentially no downtime. But the downside is that you're going to have to do it probably every 1 to 3 years. With a regular colonoscopy, because we're able to get out any polyps before they turn into anything, if you don't have polyps or if you're a regular average risk person, then potentially you only have to get screened every 10 years.
But of course, those kits do not replace getting a colonoscopy, correct?
No. So all it does is tell us whether you're at increased risk for having a polyp, but it does not catch absolutely every little thing. There are certainly smaller polyps that would not be caught with those tests. So colon cancer screening, the gold standard is going to be a colonoscopy so that we can find polyps before they turn into cancer and remove them.
And, you mentioned risk. Are there people that are at higher risk than others? And then how much does family history play when it comes to something like this?
Sure. So, folks who have a family history of colon cancer, either multiple family members or any family members diagnosed before the age of 50, are considered at an increased risk. And we're going to want to start screening them 10 years before their youngest family member diagnosis. So, if you had a family member diagnosed with colon cancer at age 45, we're going to want to start screening you at age 35. Other things that contribute to a risk for colon cancer would be something like Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, where you've got chronic inflammation going on in your colon, and that's going to increase the risk for cancer as well.
And just a question, this might be beyond what you can tell me, but you were talking about people that maybe have a higher risk getting that 10 years earlier. Is that something that would be covered by insurance if you are at higher risk? That's just out of curiosity.
So for the most part, it will depend on where you are with your deductible and all that kind of stuff. But insurance should cover it as part of typical screening and a preventative measure. It would be considered preventative healthcare. But if you haven't met your deductible, then you're going to be responsible for a certain amount, and every health insurance plan is different.
Absolutely. I just figured I'd throw that out there just out of curiosity myself. So let's talk about the symptoms. What kind of symptoms do people need to be aware of? And if they have them, when do they need to go see a doctor?
So the most common symptom is blood in your stool or some rectal bleeding. And after that, probably a change in your bowel habits and some abdominal pain. Those do all tend to be sort of later signs, unless we're looking at cancers that are very low in the rectum, right up against your sphincter where your bowel movement is coming out. So if you notice any of those things, then you should talk with your doctor to discuss your risk and determine whether you need to proceed immediately with screening or whether there's other tests that they want to do first. The take-home point really is that for the most part, colon cancer doesn't have symptoms until it's further progressed. So staying on top of your screening instead of waiting until you have a problem is the best way to stay healthy.
And that kind of leads me into my next question. How preventable is colon cancer? And are there certain lifestyle changes that you can make to lower your risk of ending up with colon cancer?
So the best way to prevent colon cancer is to get your colonoscopy, which I know I've said like 500 times now. But lifestyle changes, a high fiber diet, which means 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day, is going to help decrease your risk for colon cancer by making sure that all of your colon cells have all of the nutrition that they need. The high fiber diet is going to get all of those good carbohydrates to your colon cells so that they stay happy, and it's also going to keep the normal bacteria that lives in your colon happy. Typical American diet is like 3 to 5 grams of fiber a day. Folks who are doing a good job with fruits and vegetables are usually more in the 10 to 15 kind of ballpark. So it's a good idea to take a look at how much fiber you're eating and try and increase from there. There's plenty of ways to get food fiber into your diet, but if a supplement is what works best for you, that's totally good too. The main thing to remember if you are increasing your fiber is to drink plenty of water too, because fiber without water is concrete, and nobody wants that.
That is good advice. That's something that people probably don't think about. And I know that a way that I kind of try to track it, because like you said, a lot of people probably don't even know how much fiber they're getting in their diet. I actually use an app to help me with that. So I know that I'm hitting the amount of protein and carbs and everything to, keep myself healthy. Anything else you want to leave people with before we let you go? I mean, I know, like you were mentioning several times, make sure you're getting that colonoscopy and making those steps to make sure that you're preventing this from developing into something more. Is that kind of the big message you want to leave people with?
That's certainly the most important part of the message, but the other part of the message too is that colonoscopy is not as bad as you're thinking it is. The bowel prep is not fun. You're going to be hanging out with your toilet for the majority of the night before the colonoscopy, but the colonoscopy itself, you get medication to keep you comfortable. And it's just, it's one day out of your life to prevent a whole bunch of misery.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Wright, I appreciate you taking time today to share more about colon cancer, the symptoms, the importance of screening. We appreciate you having on, and hopefully we'll have you back on here again in the near future.
Absolutely. Have a good rest of the day.
All right, Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to show you the cover of the latest edition of the Memphis Flyer, out in newsstands now, taking care of beerness. All right, that is the cover there, but we're going to be talking about a couple of other stories that are chock full in the Memphis Flyer. And we all know when you get in the Memphis Flyer, there are all kinds of articles that you can peruse and look at and read more. Of course, memphisflyer.com. You can read them at your desktop or your computer or your phone. I'm joined now by someone who's never been on the digital desk before. We got Kaylin Johnson, a reporter for the Memphis Flyer, joining us for the first time. Kaylin, it's good to meet you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming on the digital desk for us this morning. I see that you have two stories out this week worthy of attention. Tell me about the STD rates here in Memphis. Some surprising news for some people out there. Other people might not be surprised.
Most definitely. So Interbody.com did a study, and it shows that Memphis, Tennessee was ranked #1 with the highest STD rates out of 100 cities in the United States. And I thought this was fairly interesting because for a long time, I believe Jackson, Mississippi was #1, so Memphis has overtaken that spot. And I also thought it was worth mentioning that this was during the time when it was really heavy in the news that HIV funding would actually be cut from the state of Tennessee.
So that's interesting, Kaylin, because it's like you just mentioned. I remember hearing Jackson, Mississippi was the top spot, and then Memphis overtook Jackson. Did it explain why the factors were had Memphis overtaking Jackson? Was there something that we're missing here on what we did specifically or didn't do?
Well, I think one of the things that they really focused heavily on is that the STD burden is not equal in all of our cities. And one of those things was basically saying that minority populations are basically more susceptible to these HIV and all these other STDs. And when I talked to Krista Wright of The Haven, one of the things that she really focused heavily on was that one of the misconceptions about HIV and other STDs is that it's predominantly African American, and that is by behavior. But she also explained that that's simply not true. Most of the time it's due to lack of resources and accessibility.
Okay, and you can read more about this article here in the Memphis Flyer, STD capital of the country, Memphis, Tennessee. You have another article here, Kaylin, calling, it's about drag. It's called Rage on the Stage. Tell me more about that.
Yes, so as of now, the House and Governor Bill Lee decided to sign into a bill basically that restricts drag performances from happening in public spaces or basically anywhere where a child could be seen basically can see these drag performances. And so one of the things that I really found interesting in my drag coverage in the past and in talking to other drag performers was that one thing that they really hold symbolic to them are bricks. And it's not a violent meaning, or when they choose to use a brick in their performances, it's not actually like anger involved in it. It's actually paying homage to the Stonewall riots, which a lot of people give credit to giving to the gay rights movement. And you'll start to see that history is kind of repeating itself. And actually Memphis in the past has had pageants that pay homage to the Stonewall riots because there was a time when drag performers were not allowed to even go out in public. So to kind of see that history repeat itself, I thought that was a really good starting point, and that these performers wanted to, I guess, voice their rage in an artistic way to not only give them the space to voice what's going on, but other people in the community as well.
I learned something with your article, Kaylin. I had no idea that the brick was that kind of symbol, and it's kind of making a comeback there. Tell me more about yourself. Since this is the first time we're interviewing you, tell me about yourself. Are you a Memphian, native Memphian? Where'd you grow up?
So I'm originally from South Haven, Mississippi. However, I did receive my bachelor's degree from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. So I'm a Tennessean at heart.
Okay, excellent. Well, listen, we appreciate you coming on the Action News 5 digital desk, and really appreciate your work here with the Memphis Flyer, taking care of beerness. This is on newsstands now. Of course, you can read more of Kaylin's work there at Memphis Flyer and memphisflyer.com. We appreciate your time once again. Thanks very much.
Yes, thank you.
Weather is starting to move through the area here in the Mid-South. You can see this is our High 5 camera in Midtown Memphis. Big change from when we first came on the digital desk about a half hour ago. You can see the winds kind of shaking this camera here and the rain covering the lens. Dark clouds moving in. I was going to take a live look from our downtown camera, but it looks like that camera may have gone out. But again, you can see that weather moving through the area right now. The rain coming down. Winds are expected to be around 30 miles per hour, even stronger in some areas. Parts of Mississippi, a level 4 risk today. Areas around here in Memphis, a level 3 risk. But what is that going to mean for you? When is this all going to play out? Let's go ahead and get that update from meteorologist Brittany Bryant. She's going to lay it all out for you.
Good morning. This just in, a wind advisory issued for every single county here in the Mid-South that lasts from 1 p.m. through 3 a.m. And that's because those wind gusts could get over 40 miles per hour. I've already seen 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts. We'll keep those close to 30 miles per hour through the morning. But again, after 1 o'clock, those winds could spike even higher, especially in eastern Arkansas later on tonight. If you get a severe thunderstorm, though, those winds could go over 50 miles per hour. That red color there, that's the area that has the greatest instability, all those ingredients there for severe weather. Now, if I zoom in closer, you'll notice that red, or that 4 out of 5 risk level, does include most of North Mississippi, several counties in eastern Arkansas, Helena, West Helena included in this, as well as Forest City, and part of Shelby County too. I don't want you to get too hung up with exactly where it starts and ends, though, because all of us have a threat for severe weather. Even for the rest of West Tennessee, there's a 3 out of 5. The main thing that we'll see with these thunderstorms will be severe thunderstorm warnings because of damaging wind gusts. However, this area highlighted in red in North Mississippi that I was talking about, that spot has the greatest threat for tornadoes. And let me show you why. So right now we have a line of thunderstorms moving through some areas in eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee, way north of I-40 right now. Memphis southward has been mostly dry through the morning. We may squeeze out a stray shower, though, as we go through the morning and this afternoon through lunchtime. I'm not completely ruling out rain anywhere here in the Mid-South, but you'll notice the bulk of this is over towards Harrisburg and Wynne, Blytheville, Dyersburg, even into Ripley, Tennessee, and Brownsville. Might see some of that rain, but North Mississippi continues to remain dry for the entire afternoon. We'll keep it dry there. And this is 4 o'clock today. Notice we're even seeing breaks in the clouds in North Mississippi. So instability will be skyrocketing in this area in North Mississippi, which is why that risk level is higher there. By 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, the main line starting to work into eastern Arkansas. There could be some isolated severe thunderstorms out ahead of this. So see those little circles there? Those are those isolated storms near Holly Springs and Batesville and Oxford. That line pushes through Shelby County and the rest of West Tennessee and North Mississippi around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. But this is out of here after midnight, and you'll be done with all that rain finally. Rainfall totals with this system will be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches for most of us. Could get up to 2 inches near Blytheville and Dyersburg, but we'll see that heavy rain early in the day. And we have temperatures near 80 degrees, helping to fuel those thunderstorms with all the warm air and that moisture in place. 80 degrees in Memphis, 76 is the high in Brownsville, only 71 in Dyersburg. So the rain going to keep temperatures down there, but areas where it's dry today, 83 in Clarksdale, mid-80s in Oxford and Ashland. Will also top out around 80 degrees in Helena and Marianna, but again, where we'll see rain, a little cooler, 71 in Harrisburg and Blytheville today. This weekend looks really great, though. 72 degrees on Saturday, 73 on Sunday, and we get sunshine this weekend. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover late in the day Sunday and may even see a stray shower, but most of the area remains dry. And behind Sunday night's cold front, temperatures drop down to the 60s next week.
All right, Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to tell you about a new study that says 11 minutes of moderate exercise a day can lengthen your life. Just 11 minutes, moderate exercise each day can lengthen your life. Okay, so let's talk more about this study with Alex Xavier Seals. He is an exercise specialist with Regional One Health, joining us on the digital desk. How are you? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. So tell me about this new study and some of the findings behind it. I'm very interested in this.
So the study shows that 11 minutes is all you really need to stay healthy compared to doing 30 minutes a day or something as an hour at the gym. So if you feel that you do not have enough time in the day, you definitely can find 11 minutes in your day to work out if needed. And it also shows that moderate exercise can lower your cardiovascular risk by 17% or so. It can lower your early death risk for about 23%, and it can lower your cancer risks for about 7%. So it's quite an interesting study.
So 11 minutes here. Give me some examples of moderate exercise. Are we talking about interval training? Are we talking about taking a brisk walk? What are we talking about?
So interval training might not be where you will want new people to start because that can be a little intimidating. But yes, brisk walking would definitely do justice. A nice jog, a power walk, jumping jacks, anything where you're getting that heart rate elevated and that breathing elevated will be good enough to consider good exercise.
So the CDC recommends 150 hours of exercise each week. So this is about half of what the CDC recommends, and you still have the benefits, right?
Exactly. So if you look at that CDC recommendation, that'll be about 30 minutes a day if you work out 5 days out the week. However, if you choose to just do 11 minutes, you're doing about 55 minutes for that week.
Okay, and this is... So this is just to maintain health, body health. It's not, we're not addressing losing weight or building muscle mass, nothing like that. This is just about maintaining optimal health.
Exactly. It's just mainly about, like you said, maintaining optimal health. If you do want to do something along the lines of losing weight or gaining muscle, then yes, you would have to do something more strenuous. But if you just want to stay healthy and active, as long as you're moving, you're doing just great.
Okay, so Alex Xavier, let's talk about some simple ways people out there, many viewers, we have thousands of people that watch us on the Digital Desk each and every day, some simple ways for people to work in exercise in their daily life. And again, all they need is 11 minutes a day, right?
Yes, exactly. So some simple things that you can do. Like we said earlier, you can walk. So if you find yourself at work, you have an hour lunch break. Take your time, walk in the parking lot, walk around the building, go talk to your coworkers productively and engage in motion. You can wash your car by hand versus going through a car wash. You can walk your dog if you have a dog for an extended period of time during your lunch break. There's plenty of things you can do. You can do some jumping jacks at your desk while you're working. If you're able to prop your computer up higher, maybe you have a standing desk at work. Maybe work while you're walking or work while you're squatting. There are plenty of ways that you can find ways to exercise for a very short amount of time.
I like that. And then, and I know it's so important to keep moving. Can you talk to our viewers about why it's important to just kind of keep the body going?
Yes. So moving is one of the biggest reasons that we know that we're living. So why not move and express that energy and that vitality that we have when we move? So it is very important to stay active, very important to stay healthy. We want to have the best, healthiest, longest lives that we can. And the simple fact is moving will get you there. So as long as you're moving, you do not have to do anything strenuous. Just do something, because something is better than nothing.
Exactly. Well said there. Let's talk about some ways that people can find maybe some of these recommendations, suggestions, tips online, and what's the main point you want to leave people with after this interview?
Yeah, so you can always refer to the CDC. We've spoken about them. You can go to the World Health Organization's website and find recommendations as far as what they consider good exercise habits. If you go to your local gym, I'm sure the trainers there will be able to assist you and let you understand more about optimal health and exercising appropriately. And I would consider the biggest takeaway that I would want people to know about exercise is that it does not have to be hard. It does not have to be difficult. It can be fun. So just get out there and move, get out there and do something, be happy, be active. All right.
Yes, exercise can be fun. Nothing wrong with that. All right, Alex Xavier Seals, exercise specialist with Regional One Health. We appreciate your time. Thanks for the recommendations.
Thank you so much.
So let's switch gears right now and let's talk about seasonal allergies. Do you get it in the fall and spring? I certainly do. I think actually the spring is worse for me. Well, just like humans, dogs can suffer from seasonal allergies as well. They have all kinds of signs that can kind of give you a hint that they're dealing with it. Scratching, chewing, licking. It can be rough on dogs. Get it? Rough? Rough on dogs? All right, let's talk more about this before I get booed out there. I got Dr. Dana Liska. She's a veterinary dermatology specialist at Zoetis. Is that right, doctor?
You have it right, Andrew.
Good, good. Well, listen, I appreciate you joining us. Tell us what exactly what kind of seasonal allergies that dogs have, and what are their triggers?
Absolutely. You know, you really created a great introduction saying that you suffer from allergies in the fall and the spring. And I imagine that you are sneezing, sniffling, maybe itchy eyes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So think about those same things can happen in my patients seasonally. But what they do is they show their allergies most oftentimes in their skin. And what that usually looks like in the beginning is that they're itchy in their skin. Left untreated, we could get to some bigger problems like secondary infections and hair loss.
I was going to say, it'd be interesting to kind of see in terms of what happens to dogs when things are left untreated. And I understand there's some skin allergies involved, too, when it comes to seasonal allergies. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, if we're talking specifically about seasonal allergies, I think of those as being the things in the environment that cause that itch and inflammation in the dog skin. And I think your viewers will appreciate this and it will resonate with them because it is the same thing. It's the pollens outside. It's the weeds, the trees, the grasses, the molds, house dust mite. Those are all things that go into causing that seasonal allergy.
So let's talk now about the signs that dog owners should be looking for, especially this time of year over the next 3 weeks, to see if their dog is one of those that suffer from seasonal allergies.
Absolutely. I imagine it's starting to warm up down there in the Memphis area, just like it is here in Dallas. And while we relish that warm up, it does bring the allergies out. And so what I want your viewers to think about is just recognizing that their dogs might lick or scratch or just even do a little bit of chewing, and that's natural. But when they sense that it's excessive, so it could be scratching, rubbing, rolling, biting, chewing, ear scratching, head shaking, all of those things can be a symptom of allergy. And I want your viewers to think, if my dog is having problems in its skin, I've got to get it in to see its veterinarian.
So we've kind of identified the problem here. Let's talk about solutions, the best way to relieve a dog, perhaps a dog's itch.
Absolutely. Do not delay. Get your dog in to see its veterinarian. Your dog's veterinarian is the best person to assess the skin at that time, maybe do some very simple, non-invasive tests, and then be able to sit down and talk to you about options for therapy. And that's the beauty of the modern medicine era that we live in, that there are options. One of the options that we offer at Zoetis that we are so very proud of is an FDA-approved therapy for dogs with itchy skin, and it's called Apoquel. And what I appreciate so much about it is that it starts working within 4 hours to relieve that itchy, inflamed skin, and also helps control that itch within 24 hours.
You know, we broadcast to thousands of people that tune into the Digital Desk each and every weekday morning. Is there, and I'm sure there's plenty of dog owners out there, anything else you want to say to the dog owners to perhaps remember? And another question I have, is there something like maybe a shampoo that can offer some relief?
Yeah, absolutely. So topical therapy is really important with patients with skin disease. Sometimes when patients have skin infections, though, they need a very specific type of shampoo. And so again, it kind of just brings me back to that idea of if there's a problem in the dog's skin, get that dog in to see the veterinarian so the veterinarian can make that assessment and decide what shampoo would be most appropriate. And again, also what therapies would be most appropriate for the itch and inflammation.
Okay, Dr. Dana Liska, a veterinary dermatologist specialist at Zoetis. We really appreciate the deep dive into this and really opening our eyes to seasonal allergies affecting everybody in your household, including our four-legged family members. Thanks so very much.
Absolutely. Hey, Andrew, can I share one more thing? Just that deep dive. I would love for your viewers to take that deep dive and go to itchingforhelp.com.
All right, it is Tuesday morning, and when we have a Tuesday, you know, not only is the club going up on a Tuesday, but so is Talisa Franklin. She's with us at WAVN The Trend. Talisa, good morning. How's it going?
Amazing. It's a great morning, and even greater because I'm talking to you.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, I appreciate it. Feel the same way. Tell me some of the events that you got going on. I see we have a couple of them.
We do. Listen, this Friday night, I am inviting people to the Kickback, baby. Well, the Kickback is an initiative. The Lord really showed it to me last week, and I called on a couple men that's in our community and said, listen, I need you to invest some time in some other young boys so they can be what we know that they are called to be. And so this Friday night, for boys and men only. And I just want to invite people out, right? So if you are a man and you know you have some valuable resources, valuable time, some valuable words that you can share and drop some deposits in some young boys, I want to see your face in the place. If you are a single mom or grandma or auntie or uncle, and you have a young boy in your family and you just really want somebody to talk to them and hopefully steer them on that right direction, listen, I need you to bring them, drop them off. We have a space for you to wait because this space will be for men and boys. And so the women, y'all come, we got a space for y'all. Y'all gonna hang out and just talk to me. We just gonna have girl time, right? But we really want to take an opportunity for these boys and these men to have real life conversations, right? And then they're going to have food, and they're going to have fun, and they're going to have fellowship because not only that they're going to have fun, but they're going to have those real life conversations with brothers that have survived so many different things that maybe came from challenges communities, maybe came from a challenge home, maybe didn't see no hope in the beginning. Now they want to inspire you for hope. So these are men inspiring boys. It's happening this Friday night at my church in Willing Souls Church in Douglas area. Listen, in 38108 community, I need you. If you know that you are a man and you said, Talisa, I love this, I got to be a part. Listen, we know the problem. We see the problem, what's happening with our young men. But the answer is, are you doing anything? Are you investing any of your time to change the life of one young man? And so what ultimately happen is you won't be in the church setting. We'll be sitting at tables and we'll have some chess and we'll have some checkers and some board games and some food. And that's going to give you real men an opportunity to talk to that next young man and see how you can impart some positive things in him. Because what we don't want to see and to continue to see is our young men going down the wrong road. And you men that have survived from going down the wrong road, or you know you have something valuable, or you got a son that's going in the right direction, you may want to bring you and your son so you other young men can see your son or what it looks like to have a positive reaction. Andrew, it is so critical that we do what we need to do for our children.
Yeah, no question about it, Talisa. I 100% agree. I've been a part of these events in the past, and they are so important. I mean, you know, boys need a father figure of some sort. And so here's an opportunity for free, as you mentioned, to really find a father figure, a mentor out there that can kind of guide them. And this world is so complicated, and to have someone that they can rely upon to guide them is so good.
Yeah, and so that's why I encourage everybody, listen, come out to the Kickback on this Friday night. Call me. Y'all got my number. Call me. The number is on the flyer. If there's anything value that you say, Talisa, we need to add, just call me. It's open for suggestions. Andrew, I just had an idea, and I wanted to see people come together to help our young boys. You know, my son, and I have a 16-year-old son, and I'm so grateful for the mentors that's in his life and the men that's in his life and his father that is in his life. life. But there's so many of our brothers and young men don't have that, right? And so what can we do as a village? The village got to make sure we keep them going. So listen, this Friday, y'all, it's the kickback. It's the kickback. Y'all need to see y'all in the place on Friday at my church in the Douglas community. And then, Andrew, you know what time it is. It's getting close to Juneteenth, baby. And tickets go on sale on tomorrow. Oh, I'm so excited. At the Halloran Center, Juneteenth the musical. You want to see a stage play, a musical stage play, performances by Young Actors Guild under the direction of the amazing artistic director, Christy Chandler. Let me tell you, Juneteenth the musical, family, you better get your tickets. Tickets goes on sale tomorrow at Ticketmaster. Listen, Juneteenth the musical is at the Halloran Center, the 10th of June. It's a Saturday for 2 shows, a 2 p.m. and a 7 p.m. Listen, our young people, all people gonna be on that stage showing the reenactment of why we all should celebrate Juneteenth. So tickets go on sale tomorrow. I'm telling y'all, it will sell out, both shows. So go ahead and grab your tickets tomorrow when they go on sale on the Ticketmaster app. So it's going to be a great year. Juneteenth is doing great things. For all the things Juneteenth, y'all know what to do, right? Go to our website, memphisjuneteenth.com. I am the proud president of the Memphis Juneteenth Festival, and we're doing so many things this month for June. Why? Because we're celebrating 30 years right here in the city of Memphis, and we are going to have an amazing time of letting people know why you should commemorate and celebrate Juneteenth.
These are some great events, Talisa. Each and every time we talk, you tell me about these great events, and I know that you're all about Juneteenth, and it's such a great celebration. And what I like to remind people is that we were doing Juneteenth years, decades before everybody else were. I mean, it's kind of the hot, trendy thing to talk about right now, and have events marking the occasion. We were doing this 20 plus years ago.
You know, Andrew, I tell people, I was telling the mayor the other day, I said, you know, Mayor, we've been doing Juneteenth in Memphis with a spirit of excellence. Before it was a hashtag, before it was a national holiday, before it was cool, and he just started, I said, listen, that's just my saying now. We were doing Juneteenth before it was cool and a hashtag, because Memphis is that city that is all about change and pulling people together, and that's what Memphis is all about. Listen, Memphis Juneteenth turned 30 years, and let me tell you, there are so many great celebrations that is happening here in the city of Memphis. Listen, I lead a lot of them, and I know I do, and I'm grateful that I do, but there's so many other people that is leading Juneteenth. And listen, if you know that you are one of those people, that you have not connected with me, make sure, because I want to make sure you have a toolkit so the whole city of Memphis can celebrate Juneteenth inclusive and with equity for all.
All right, despite the economic downturn, there is a new report out there that shows private equity is boosting local businesses, and we want to bring in someone to talk about this particular investment. More specifically, let's bring in now Jamal Hagler. He's Vice President of Research for American Investment Council. Jamal, thanks for joining us on the Digital Desk. Tell us exactly what private equity is and how it's different from other investments. Good morning.
Well, Andrew, good morning, and thank you for having me. So private equity is different than other investments because with private equity investors give money, but they also provide their expertise. They roll up their sleeves and they help businesses navigate any challenges or anything that may come their way. Additionally, they help to open up new supply chains as well as find additional avenues for sales. So private equity managers really partner with the businesses that they purchase to help them grow and create jobs throughout the country.
Yeah, I mean, so many business owners look for support during the pandemic, and I guess this was one of the ways that they could get support from some of the private sector there. What are the benefits, private equity businesses and investments in Tennessee? What are some of those benefits, and what are some examples where private equity-backed companies in our state here?
Wow. in 2022 alone, about $19 billion was invested in Tennessee and 148 companies, companies like True Green and Southern Towing Company. And that capital helps businesses to navigate any challenges that they would encounter. It also is helpful to build new facilities, hire new employees, look for new avenues of new products, and additional helping with lowering cost of supplies and things of that nature.
So let me ask you this, Jamal. We've been talking about how the private equity has been helping some of these businesses. Can you tell us about this report that we're hearing about with some of the key findings? Apparently, this is the new report from the American Investment Council. Tell me that.
Yes. So I think the number one takeaway is that private equity invests in every state and every congressional district throughout the country. Additionally, I think while many people think of private equity and may think of larger businesses, the vast majority of investments are in smaller businesses. 46% of investments went to companies with 100 employees or less, and approximately 62% of investments went to small businesses. So I think one thing that people should remember is that private equity helps small businesses grow and expand and reach new horizons.
Let's talk about elected leaders and how they can help facilitate private equity investments in our area, not just Tennessee, but of course we broadcast to areas of Mississippi and in Arkansas.
Well, I think the number one thing is stability. I think you can't change the rules of the road in the middle. And I think, things that would disrupt what's already known and can affect the ability to invest and the ability to put capital to work to benefit communities, workers, and businesses alike.
Okay, Jamal, is there any place where people can go and get some more information on what we discussed and perhaps do a deep dive for themselves?
Absolutely. If you want to check out the report, please go to investmentcouncil.org.
Okay, Jamal Hagler, Vice President of Research for the American Investment Council. We appreciate your time, Jamal. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. This just in, a wind advisory issued for every single county here in the Mid-South that lasts from 1 p.m. through 3 a.m. And that's because those wind gusts could get over 40 miles per hour. I've already seen 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts. We'll keep those close to 30 miles per hour through the morning. But again, after 1 o'clock, those winds could spike even higher, especially in eastern Arkansas later on tonight. If you get a severe thunderstorm, though, those winds could go over 50 miles per hour. That red color there, that's the area that has the greatest instability, all those ingredients there for severe weather. Now, if I zoom in closer, you'll notice that red, or that 4 out of 5 risk level, does include most of North Mississippi, several counties in eastern Arkansas, Helena, West Helena included in this, as well as Forest City, and part of Shelby County too. I don't want you to get too hung up with exactly where it starts and ends, though, because all of us have a threat for severe weather. Even for the rest of West Tennessee, there's a 3 out of 5. The main thing that we'll see with these thunderstorms will be severe thunderstorm warnings because of damaging wind gusts. However, this area highlighted in red in North Mississippi that I was talking about, that spot has the greatest threat for tornadoes. And let me show you why. So right now we have a line of thunderstorms moving through some areas in eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee, way north of I-40 right now. Memphis southward has been mostly dry through the morning. We may squeeze out a stray shower, though, as we go through the morning and this afternoon through lunchtime. I'm not completely ruling out rain anywhere here in the Mid-South, but you'll notice the bulk of this is over towards Harrisburg and Wynne, Blytheville, Dyersburg, even into Ripley, Tennessee, and Brownsville. Might see some of that rain, but North Mississippi continues to remain dry for the entire afternoon. We'll keep it dry there. And this is 4 o'clock today. Notice we're even seeing breaks in the clouds in North Mississippi. So instability will be skyrocketing in this area in North Mississippi, which is why that risk level is higher there. By 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, the main line starting to work into eastern Arkansas. There could be some isolated severe thunderstorms out ahead of this. So see those little circles there? Those are those isolated storms near Holly Springs and Batesville and Oxford. That line pushes pushes through Shelby County and the rest of West Tennessee and North Mississippi around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, but this is out of here after midnight, and you'll be done with all that rain finally. Rainfall totals with this system will be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches for most of us. Could get up to 2 inches near Blytheville and Dyersburg, but we'll see that heavy rain early in the day. And we have temperatures near 80 degrees, helping to fuel those thunderstorms with all the warm air and that moisture in place. 80 degrees in Memphis, 76 is the high in Brownsville, only 71 in Dyersburg, so the rain going to keep temperatures down there, but areas where it's dry today, 83 in Clarksdale, mid-80s in Oxford and Ashland. Will also top out around 80 degrees in Helena and Mariana, but again, where we'll see rain, a little cooler, 71 in Harrisburg and Blytheville today. This weekend looks really great, though. 72 degrees on Saturday, 73 on Sunday, and we get sunshine this weekend. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover late in the day Sunday and may even see a stray shower, but most of the area remains dry. And behind Sunday night's cold front, temperatures drop down to the 60s next week.
A live look right now from downtown Memphis. The camera back up and running this morning. You could see the rain on the lens there, rain coming down. Just going to be one of those days, as you heard Brittany talking about, with the rain moving through the area and the risk of severe weather. We're going to keep you updated. We're going to have meteorologist Aaron Thomas here on the digital desk in about an hour or so to give us the latest on the timing and what things look like across the area. So stick with us here at the Action News 5 digital desk. It's Friday. I know a lot of you are excited and geared up for the weekend, so we want to make sure you're prepared weather-wise. That wind going to be pretty strong today, so make sure that you're keeping that in mind. If you have things out in the backyard, umbrellas, anything like that, make sure that you put those away so they don't get blown around. So let's get to another story now. Doctors say insurance companies are effectively practicing medicine by deciding what gets covered and when. But those same companies are not being held to the same standards, and patients have few options to fight back if delays affect their health, even if they go to court. Here is our investigative reporter Lee Zurich with permission to practice.
Frustrating now. At the time, the anger was, I can't even explain it, you know, even on her part.
Val Valentini says his health insurer failed his family. A few years ago, the former New York City police officer's wife, Kathleen, was suffering from hip pain, and doctors wanted an MRI to investigate a suspicious mass that turned up in an X-ray, but insurance denied the request.
So her doctor told her, I want you to get an MRI because I feel like this is what you need. And then the insurer, who never saw her, said, no, you're not getting an MRI.
That's exactly it.
It took 6 weeks of appeals, but she finally got the MRI, which confirmed bone cancer. But doctors said the delay in diagnosis meant instead of chemotherapy, Kathleen needed a significant amputation first.
She suffered for no reason.
In November of 2020, she lost her battle.
They failed her so miserably, and from beginning to end.
Kathleen's MRI needed approval to be covered in a process called prior authorization, which is when doctors submit a request to the insurance plan and it decides if it will provide coverage, often based on whether the company thinks the test or treatment is necessary. Justin Williams worked for a major health insurance company for almost a decade. His team processing electronic faxes of requests from doctors as they came in.
So every one of those faxes coming in would be someone's hospitalization, somebody's medical equipment, somebody's treatment.
Williams says over time, bosses pushed his team to focus on new and different duties. The queue of unprocessed fax requests backed up into the thousands, often pushing each prior authorization to the maximum amount of time.
It basically became clear to me that the primary function of the insurance company was not so much getting things done in a timely fashion.
Part of what makes the process so hard to navigate for providers and patients, not all insurers have the same rules. In our analysis of nearly 100 policies, prior authorization requirements for the same service varied company to company and sometimes state to state. We tried to interview representatives from the insurance industry for this story. A political advocacy association representing health insurers refused to make someone available. But in 2018 testimony to Congress, the group says prior authorization has been effective in addressing overuse and misuse of tests and procedures.
With prior authorization, our members analyze whether a treatment is safe and effective for a particular patient based on the best available clinical evidence.
By making these decisions, people like Val Valentini and his attorney allege insurance companies are actually practicing medicine. The family even tried to sue their insurer for medical malpractice. But the case got dismissed because in New York, as in most states, there are no laws holding insurance companies to the same standard as doctors.
What they're doing is disgusting, and it's getting worse and worse, it seems.
Now you can find court documents from the legal case and more details on our team's research now online at actionnews5.com. All right, we're kicking off St. Jude Dream Home's giveaway, a big day with the first day prize package that's bigger than anything that has been offered this early in previous years. Just wait, we're going to tell you about that in just a little bit. But first, we want to get to the reason why your support for St. Jude's Research Hospital matters so much. So just take it from a mom that you're about to meet here.
To say good things come to those who wait is an understatement for Kelly Waddell.
We tried for 3 years to have a child, period. And we kept meeting disappointment after disappointment and could never get pregnant.
When she finally did get pregnant, she gave birth to a bright-eyed, adorable baby boy. Caleb was everything Kelly Waddell and her husband prayed for. Life was perfect until it wasn't.
So we were told at 13 months of age that he would live to be 5 to 10 years old and that he would end up blind and deaf and have mental deficits and that his organs would just start shutting down.
Caleb's medical journey started after Kelly took him to see an orthopedic surgeon because when he was born, his feet were turned inward. She didn't think much of it. Caleb was treated with serial casting and she assumed that would resolve the issue. But doctors believed Caleb's condition was a genetic disorder, and what the geneticist said left Kelly and her husband numb.
I think I've seen your son in a book, and I'm like, my son is perfect. You know, how in the world could you have seen him in a book?
The next referral was to the skillful healing hands of a physician who happened to work on Danny Thomas Boulevard.
There's a doctor at St. Jude, and they started doing transplants, and it's not a cure, but it's a hope, it's a chance.
Hope that's kept Caleb alive.
He received his bone marrow transplant at 18 months of age. He's had surgery after surgery, and including his back being broken and reconstructed in his hips, and a corneal transplant and carpal tunnel when he was 4, and he's done all these things.
And now her all grown-up baby boy is doing life abundantly.
So his 5 to 10 year life sentence has turned into 22 years going, and he's doing amazing.
Driving up to St. Jude all those years ago, this then terrified mother says she will never forget the love that swallowed her the moment she walked through the doors.
Back then, there was this little lady, Miss Penny, that was at the front desk, and I loved Miss Penny. Miss Penny came from behind the desk, and she hugged us and told us, I know you're scared, and I know this is you know, frightening and everything, but you're in the best place you possibly can be. And it was just like, Miss Penny was the epitome of this hospital, because as soon as we came in, we felt like we were wrapped in somebody's arms. It's like the Disney World of hospitals.
The tug of war on childhood cancer at this magical place never stops, and Caleb keeps winning. From a mother's love to grandma's hugs to getting spoiled by his baby boss sister.
She's like a little mother hen, swearing to him that when she grows up that she's going to take care of him and she's going to take him everywhere. They are great together.
Thanks to St. Jude, a togetherness these two peas in a pod will share for a lifetime.
And you know, that's what it's all about. You can help kids like Caleb by participating in the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway. It's sponsored by ALSAC and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And today is the big kickoff. Tickets going on sale. And if you get yours on the first day, you are in for a pretty huge prize if you win. So check this out. We're talking season tickets to the Memphis Grizzlies, season tickets to the Memphis Tigers men's basketball, and a weekend getaway at the Peabody. I mean, what a prize. That's awesome. All that in addition to the chance to win a dream home worth more than $500,000. Tickets available now, and believe me, they are going to sell out.
Okay, Andrew Douglas back here in the Action News 5 digital desk on the first day of spring. And, we're thinking about working out. And, of course, that is one of the big New Year's resolutions. But it's March now. The sun's out. We're supposed to be working out all the time, getting into shape. Well, you got to worry about your body and your health and your fitness and making sure that you don't hurt anything or strain anything or break anything or tear anything. March is also National Athletic Training Month, and joining us right now is Emily Collier. She is a certified athletic trainer with Campbell Clinic. Good morning, Emily. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Doing well, thank you. So tell us why it's so important for many of us, both young, the youth out there, and adults alike, to work with an athletic trainer when we're these weekend warrior types that love to just go out in the outdoors and have some fun.
So a good comparison I like to use to describe my profession is that athletic trainers are kind of like the Swiss Army knife or the utility player on a baseball team. We have a lot of knowledge with a lot of various topics involving sports medicine. So we have knowledge on injury prevention, how to properly treat and rehabilitate injuries. We have knowledge on modalities and extra things that you can do to help heal your injuries faster. We have knowledge in emergent and immediate care. So we can just kind of do a lot of different things that can get you from point A to point B a lot faster when it comes to injuries.
I understand that, and I know that Campbell Clinic works a lot with various sports teams, not only the Grizzlies or the Tigers, but also some local high school athletes as well. What are some of the most common injuries that you see, and perhaps what are some of the best ways to prevent that?
Yeah, so I work at a high school full-time and provide sports medicine coverage to a school that has 17 varsity sports. So we see a lot of injuries, but some of the most common ones that we deal with are sprains and strains of every muscle or tendon or ligament you could probably see. And then on the more severe side, we see ACL tears, a lot of concussions, broken bones. Unfortunately, there's not really a perfect formula to preventing injuries, but a good rule of thumb is just making sure that you warm up properly for the sport that you're about to perform. So I wouldn't recommend a football player do a volleyball player's warm up or a basketball player do a golf warm up. You just want to make sure that you're warming up those muscles that you're about to use. Secondly, I would advise that you have to listen to your body. So that if something's not feeling right, then you need to either take a step back and take a break, or if it's serious enough, you need to, follow up with your athletic trainer or maybe go and see a physician about it, because there's things that we can do to help progress faster.
I always hear that it's so important to stretch before any kind of physical activity. What about ending with stretch? Which one's more important?
So usually when you're getting into exercise, you want to do what's called a dynamic warm-up, which is stretching with movement, because if you're just holding that static stretch or, just standing and touching your toes, that type of a stretch, it's not as effective. It doesn't get your blood flowing quite as well as a dynamic warm-up does. So you really want a little bit of both. You want to do a dynamic warm-up at the beginning of the workout, and then at the end, it's okay to do some of that static stretching just to kind of help cool your muscles down, prepare your body for that rest phase.
What advice would you give parents and perhaps some student athletes out there who may be watching this? what advice would you give them to just kind of avoid injuries out there? You know, a lot of times you'll hear coaches and maybe some athletes, some former athletes will say, okay, well, if your son or daughter is involved in a sport, you want to make sure that they're involved in multiple sports so they work different muscles during different times of the year and they're balanced. Does that make any sense? Give me your best advice.
Yeah, that's a great point that you bring up because there's so much research out there now speaking against sports specialization. So only playing one sport for more than 8 months at a time is not great for your body. You can get a lot of overuse injuries from that. So more and more we're recommending, go ahead and play 2 or 3 sports a year just so that you're changing it up and you're using different muscles and you're not just being repetitive for your entire athletic career. That can come with a lot of benefits. And also I think it's a good mental benefit too, because you're not in the same setting every single day. You have something different to look forward to maybe when the springtime comes around versus the sport that you're playing in the fall. Sports specialization is okay when you're older, but when you're a youth athlete, go out and try whatever interests you, and that's okay.
So, Emily, we know that it's so important to have certain people on the sidelines during games, whether it's collegiate games, professional games, high school games. Can you talk briefly with us about the importance of having an athletic trainer on the sidelines during these kinds of competitions?
So especially with it being March, I'm sure that you're seeing a lot of athletic trainers on TV right now with March Madness, and that's just the greatest way to kick off National Athletic Training Month, is getting to see and highlight all of the athletic trainers that work in all sorts of settings. It's important that we're on the sidelines and sitting on the bench with the team, because we have training for emergent and immediate care in the case of a sudden cardiac arrest or any other emergency that may pop up. But we're also there for the little things, like if your star player rolls his ankle and
I thought you were going to be out
get
there
it evaluated
live
to see whether or not he can go back in or not. That's one of the main reasons why it's great to have us there for that immediate access, because we can make that decision whether or not they are able to continue on with the game, or if you need to change your game plan and maybe put in the next guy. We can deal with anything from like a rolled ankle to
do you have it on your phone or anything like
a cut, a broken finger. We're trained to
Would you want to do it that way?
deal with everything, and in your career you see pretty much anything and everything you could ever
I'm going to send you an email with a Zoom, and then
I bet, and that's why there are so many certifications that you guys have. After your name, there's all kinds of different certifications. Can you briefly explain some of those certifications? And I guess you have to update it almost every year,
we could do it
right?
in the studio.
Yeah,
I can't remember when they were. They might be done with cut-ins
behind
already.
my name stands for licensed athletic trainer, so that just means that I'm licensed to practice in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah. Thank you.
Every state usually has different standards that you have to
I've been running all
qualify
the
for in
stories
order
that
to
we
get
did.
that license. So that's the most important credential that I own, because it allows me to practice athletic training in the state of Tennessee. And then the ATC behind my name stands for Athletic Training Certified. That just means that I have passed the Board of Certification exam to be an athletic trainer. And then all of the other stuff after that is just additional certifications that you can go out and get. So the PN behind my name stands for Precision Nutrition. So I'm a certified nutrition coach. And it's really important to go out and get extra certifications, because the world of medicine and the world of sports medicine is constantly changing. There's new discoveries, new techniques that are coming out almost every single day. So in order to keep up with and provide the best care to our patients, it's important to go out and learn those new techniques, because there's not a perfect way to treat an injury. Every body reacts differently to a form of treatment. So what works for some athlete might not work for another athlete. So just having those extra tools in your toolbox really help to make the treatment and rehabilitation process a lot easier.
All right, Emily Collier, we really appreciate your time this morning and giving us the insight into what you do and how important your job is each and every day for so many different athletes, whether it's collegiate, high school, professional, and on this National Athletic Training Month. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, March 30th marks World Bipolar Day. It's also the birthday of Vincent van Gogh, who was posthumously diagnosed as having bipolar disorder. And let's talk a little bit ahead of World Bipolar Day with someone who knows a lot about the disorder, Dr. Gustavo Alva, a psychiatrist board certified by the American Board of Psychiatry and Neurology, joining us on the digital desk. Dr. Alva, good morning. Can you provide a little bit of background on bipolar disorder, what it is and what to look for, that sort of thing?
I'm happy to describe this for you. So bipolar disorder is a brain disorder that causes unusual changes with not just mood, but also behavior. Not an uncommon condition. 6 million adult Americans are affected by bipolar disorder, which means that about 2.1% of Americans will live with bipolar 1 disorder in their lifetime. And as the term implies, we see that there are episodes defined by manic episodes as well as depressive episodes when people experience bipolar 1 disorder.
So it sounds like it's much more prevalent these days in the U.S., Doctor. What are some signs and perhaps some symptoms of bipolar disorder?
Well, some of the symptomatology goes along these lines. When people with bipolar 1 disorder are experiencing a manic episode, they might experience a lot of energy. They might not need to sleep as much. They might have a ton of racing thoughts that are ripping through their head, and they might act out with reckless behaviors that don't necessarily take into consideration the consequences that will ensue from certain acts. That then gets followed by a depressive episode in which people experience the opposite: low energy, social withdrawal. Obviously, this might lead towards feelings of isolation and being misunderstood. And that's where clinicians like myself might be able to help patients with bipolar 1 disorder stabilize so that they can in turn pursue their goals, careers, and relationships.
So once you get in there and I see that everything looks good, I'm going to type in the chat, so you'll probably see a chat pop up where I say we'll come to you in so many
this disorder,
minutes or seconds or whatever. And
initially, when someone was diagnosed with bipolar disorder many years ago,
it was, if you can hear and everything.
It was a pretty brutal diagnosis, but now there's much more treatment available, and I know that people know more about the disorder today than ever before.
Which is critical, right? Obviously, for people to have a voice in their mental health management is probably going to land them the best outcome. So speaking with one's healthcare provider is always going to be the best option. As we speak openly about mental health, we not only educate others, but we also help fight off stigma. And this is a treatable medical condition, and it's something that can actually be dealt with quite effectively.
As a healthcare provider, doctor, how do you determine which treatment is best for those patients with bipolar disorder?
Well, everyone's a bit different, but clinicians like myself will typically approach a patient with bipolar 1 disorder and offer them an oral medication. Now, keep in mind that once somebody's been stabilized, the options then grow. So somebody that's been stabilized with bipolar 1 disorder might be offered a long-acting injectable. And the beauty with that is that now people don't necessarily have to worry about taking their medicine on a daily basis and can now focus on other areas of their life. So it's really important for people to be well in tune with the options that are there for them and, how we might be able to manage this condition best. In lieu of World Bipolar Day, learnmorebp1.com is a great resource for individuals to seek out more information. So learnmorebp1.com is a site I would definitely recommend.
Okay, and let's talk a little bit about where people can get more information. You said bp1.com. Anywhere else?
Yeah, so it's learnmorebp1.com. But certainly the National Institute of Mental Health offers a lot of different resources. But for this particular endeavor of World Bipolar Day, learnmorebp1.com, I think offers a phenomenal source for more information.
So with World Bipolar Day approaching, is there anything that people can do to maybe mark the significance of that day?
Absolutely. We talk about Vincent van Gogh. There's other people that are more contemporary, right? So when you take a look at people like Winston Churchill, other individuals that are highly notable, these are individuals that have garnered a fair amount of attention, but they experienced a brain disorder that was causing changes with mood and behavior. And the nice thing, as you stated earlier, is that we have a better approach in dealing with this. But the important thing is empowering individuals with appropriate education and helping fight stigma.
No question about it. All right, Dr. Gustavo Alva, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for giving us this insight when it comes to bipolar disorder ahead of Bipolar Disorder Day. Thanks very much.
Good morning. This just in, a wind advisory issued for every single county here in the Mid-South that lasts from 1 p.m. through 3 a.m. And that's because those wind gusts could get over 40 miles per hour. I've already seen 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts. We'll keep those close to 30 miles per hour through the morning. But again, after 1 o'clock, those winds could spike even higher, especially in eastern Arkansas later on tonight. If you get a severe thunderstorm, though, those winds could go over 50 miles per hour. That red color there, that's the area that has the greatest instability, all those ingredients there for severe weather. Now, if I zoom in closer, you'll notice that red, or that 4 out of 5 risk level, does include most of North Mississippi, several counties in eastern Arkansas, Helena, West Helena included in this, as well as Forest City, and part of Shelby County too. I don't want you to get too hung up with exactly where it starts and ends, though, because all of us have a threat for severe weather. Even for the rest of West Tennessee, there's a 3 out of 5. The main thing that we'll see with these thunderstorms will be severe thunderstorm warnings because of damaging wind gusts. However, this area highlighted in red in North Mississippi that I was talking about, that spot has the greatest threat for tornadoes. And let me show you why. So right now we have a line of thunderstorms moving through some areas in eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee, way north of I-40 right now. Memphis southward has been mostly dry through the morning. We may squeeze out a stray shower, though, as we go through the morning and this afternoon through lunchtime. I'm not completely ruling out rain anywhere here in the Mid-South, but you'll notice the bulk of this is over towards Harrisburg and Wynne, Blytheville, Dyersburg, even into Ripley, Tennessee, and Brownsville. Might see some of that rain, but North Mississippi continues to remain dry for the entire afternoon. We'll keep it dry there. And this is 4 o'clock today. Notice we're even seeing breaks in the clouds in North Mississippi. So instability will be skyrocketing in this area in North Mississippi, which is why that risk level is higher there. By 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, the main line starting to work into eastern Arkansas. There could be some isolated severe thunderstorms out ahead of this. So see those little circles there? Those are those isolated storms near Holly Springs and Batesville and Oxford. That line pushes through Shelby County and the rest of West Tennessee and North Mississippi around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight. But this is out of here after midnight, and you'll be done with all that rain finally. Rainfall totals with this system will be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches for most of us. Could get up to 2 inches near Blytheville and Dyersburg, where we'll see that heavy rain early in the day. And we have temperatures near 80 degrees, helping to fuel those thunderstorms with all the warm air and that moisture in place. 80 degrees in Memphis, 76 is the high in Brownsville, only 71 in Dyersburg. So the rain going to keep temperatures down there, but areas where it's dry today, 83 in Clarksdale, mid-80s in Oxford and Ashland. Will also top out around 80 degrees in Helena and Mariana, but again, where we'll see rain, a little cooler, 71 in Harrisburg and Blytheville today. This weekend looks really great, though. 72 degrees on Saturday, 73 on Sunday, and we get sunshine this weekend. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover late in the day Sunday and may even see a stray shower, but most of the area remains dry. And behind Sunday night's cold front, temperatures drop down to the 60s next week.
All right, despite the economic downturn, there is a new report out there that shows private equity is boosting local businesses, and we want to bring in someone to talk about this particular investment. More specifically, let's bring in now Jamal Hagler. He's Vice President of Research for American Investment Council. Jamal, thanks for joining us on the Digital Desk. Tell us exactly what private equity is and how it's different from other investments. Good morning.
Well, Andrew, good morning, and thank you for having me. So private equity is different than other investments because with private equity investors give money, but they also provide their expertise. They roll up their sleeves and they help businesses navigate any challenges or anything that may come their way. Additionally, they help to open up new supply chains as well as find additional avenues for sales. So private equity managers really partner with the businesses that they purchase to help them grow and create jobs throughout the country.
Yeah, I mean, so many business owners look for support during the pandemic, and I guess this was one of the ways that they could get support from some of the private sector there. What are the benefits, private equity businesses and investments in Tennessee? What are some of those benefits, and what are some examples where private equity backed companies in our state here?
Wow. In 2022 alone, about $19 billion was invested in Tennessee and 148 companies, companies like True Green and Southern Towing Company. And that capital helps businesses to navigate any challenges that they would encounter. It also is helpful to build new facilities, hire new employees, look for new avenues of new products and additional helping with lowering cost of supplies and things of that nature.
So let me ask you this, Jamal. We've been talking about how the private equity has been helping some of these businesses. Can you tell us about this report that we're hearing about with some of the key findings? Apparently, this is the new report from the American Investment Council. Tell me that.
Yes. So I think the number one takeaway is that private equity invests in every state and every congressional district throughout the country. Additionally, I think while many people think of private equity and may think of larger businesses, the vast majority of investments are in smaller businesses. 46% of investments went to companies with 100 employees or less, and approximately 62% of investments went to small businesses. So I think one thing that people should remember is that private equity helps small businesses grow and expand and reach new horizons.
Let's talk about elected leaders and how they can help facilitate private equity investments in our area, not just Tennessee, but of course we broadcast to areas of Mississippi and in Arkansas.
Well, I think the number one thing is stability. I think you can't change the rules of the road in the middle. And I think, things that would disrupt what's already known and can affect the ability to invest and the ability to put capital to work to benefit communities, workers, and businesses alike.
Okay, Jamal, is there any place where people can go and get some more information on what we discussed and perhaps do a deep dive for themselves?
Absolutely. If you want to check out the report, please go to investmentcouncil.org.
Okay, Jamal Hagler, Vice President of Research for the American Investment Council. We appreciate your time, Jamal. Thanks very much.
Thank you for having me.
Amanda Hansen back here at the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We're already off to a stellar start for the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway, and we're in for a treat this morning because guess who we have joining us here on the Digital Desk? Yes, we have our very own Joe Birch joining us live from the anchor desk in the studio. Joe, how's it going? I know you got up early today.
I did get up early, and this is a once-a-year event. I come in every year for the St. Jude Dream Home Ticket Blitz kickoff, and we're so grateful that so many of our viewers have responded positively this morning. We're selling those tickets, and the way to get one is simple. All you have to do is call 1-800-224-6681, 1-800-224-6681. You can see it there on your screen, or click on dreamhome.org, and you can get a deal. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like it. And, you know, Joe, I think it's great because we actually have some drone footage of the dream home. Let me see if I can get that pulled up here because it looks incredible. Can you talk more about what we know about the home?
Yes, it's valued at, believe it or not, $575,000. And so it's a beautiful home in Arlington, Tennessee, 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and all the bells and whistles that Southern Serenity Homes is known for adding. You know, they have been the builder for the St. Jude Dream Home for many years now and take great pride in presenting a house each year for this fantastic opportunity. $100 gives you a chance to buy a $575,000 dream home. You could win it. You can't buy it for $100, but you can win it for $100 or as many chances as you'd like to take. You don't have to buy just one ticket. You can buy as many as you like. And, you know, this is a beautiful place in Arlington, Tennessee, in a great neighborhood, place Memphians would love to have.
It's gorgeous, Joe, and I think it's awesome, too, that you could win the home just by buying a $100 ticket. And like you said, all the bells and whistles in Arlington, and it looks awesome. And every single year, it seems like these tickets, they sell out fast, right?
They do. You know, each year we've had a faster pace of sale. Just FYI, in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio, these tickets sell out in one day. They do a ticket blitz in the morning like we're doing today on our kickoff day, and they sell out that day. We haven't been that lucky, but we have sold them out faster and faster each and every year. The 24th year, the Dream Home has been available in the Memphis market, which is the hometown, of course, of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And so people have become more and more in tune with buying these tickets to support this great cause and for winning the opportunity to win, you know, so many great prizes in addition to the Dream Home.
Oh, yeah. And let's talk about that, because if people buy tickets today, they're in for an extra treat. Is that right? A chance to win this kind of prize package.
You're exactly right, my friend. So let's go over it. Today and today only, as you can see on the graphic here, you have the chance to win not only the Dream Home. You always have the chance to win the Dream Home should you buy a ticket today, but you also have the opportunity to win season tickets to the Memphis Grizzlies. Think about how much it costs to buy one ticket for a Grizzlies game. Well, this $100 bill, if you're the lucky winner, gets you season tickets to the Memphis Grizzlies and then season tickets to Memphis Tigers basketball, men's basketball, and then also a weekend getaway at the Peabody. So it's like the deal of the century right there. But it's only for the people who secure and reserve their ticket today. So today's the day. If you know that you intend to buy a ticket, why not put your name in the hat for today and have the chance to win this great prize? Season tickets to the Tigers, the Grizzlies, and the weekend getaway, in addition to the Dream Home.
I mean, I would pay $100 just to put my name in the hat for that prize package and then add the chance of winning a Dream Home. I mean, come on, count me in, right?
Oh, it's a fantastic deal. And really, it's an incentive to buy today. So we're trying to sell these tickets out as fast as we can. And we'd love to sell them all today. And, not have to run promos all the time inviting you to buy a ticket. But, we understand, people have financial challenges and you might not have $100 that you can spare right now. But if you do, and you want to buy a ticket, today is the day to get one so that you can have the chance to get those season tickets for the Grizzlies and Tigers and the weekend getaway at Peabody.
Oh, for sure. But outside of the fact that this is a chance to win a Dream Home, this is also your chance to really help kids and families that are dealing with nothing that any parent wants to deal with. And because all the money that is raised from this event, of course, benefits Alsac St. Jude and the work that they're doing. And we've been sharing a lot of those stories. And so, you're not only getting that chance to win that Dream Home, but you're helping these families as they go through one of the toughest battles that they will probably ever deal with.
That's right. And I've got my St. Jude tie on that features children. You know, St. Jude is all about kids. And today is a first alert weather day here at Action News 5. So, you know, what if you had a first alert cancer day in your family? What if, you know, you were one of the families that were told in your doctor's office, you need to go to St. Jude in Memphis, Tennessee? Wouldn't you want a safe harbor in the storm of cancer and other catastrophic diseases that children face? Well, that's what buying a ticket today helps ensure. You are helping to make sure that children are in the midst of the turmoil and the storm of cancer or other catastrophic diseases have a safe port in the storm at St. Jude. Not only do they have all the cutting edge treatment available, but they have got the most incredible environment. It is absolutely germ free. They work around the clock to make sure that there's no bacteria in the air that could be harmful to children who have immune systems that have been they work around the clock to make sure they raise the funds. They pay for everything, travel, food, all of the things that a family needs, housing. Target House is right around the corner from our station here. I walk by it or ride my bike by it all the time and think what an incredible place that is, so that families don't have to worry about any of these. Some of these folks are here for periods, weeks, months, and years, and all the bills are covered. There's no utility bill that ends up, you know, in their mailbox. There's no grocery bill that ends up in their box. They get what they need, and all they have to do is focus on helping their child recover from whatever it is, cancer or another catastrophic disease. So it's an incredible place. I've been blessed to be devoted to it for a long time. I had the opportunity, starting early in my career when I started in 1978, to start interviewing Danny Thomas. And Danny knew what to do when a camera was nearby. He knew how to magnify the mission at St. Jude. And so that's what he did when he was talking with me or anybody else with a kid, because he knew he was a director and a personality himself, and he knew exactly what to do to get the message of St. Jude across. And he has spent his life sharing that message and helping so many kids recover. And unfortunately, we don't have all the answers. And so that's why we need those research towers and those scientists and those labs and those great teams that work so hard to find the pieces of the puzzle of cancer and to put those together and find answers. But it's happening at St. Jude. And so you could hardly spend $100 better than a contribution to St. Jude, and also the chance to win so many fantastic prizes.
Absolutely. And like you said, you've been involved and with St. Jude and helping with St. Jude for a number of years. And Memphis loves St. Jude and the work that they do. I remember back when I was younger, my dad, little interesting story about me is my dad, he used to do magic as a hobby, believe it or not. And so he actually used to volunteer and go do magic shows for the kids at St. Jude and stuff way back when. So, you know, Memphis loves St. Jude and the work that they do, and buying this $100 ticket is just a way to kind of show your support for just all the great work that they're doing right here in our backyard. And they're helping so many kids and families. And like you said, the burden of not having to worry about where are we going to stay, how are we going to afford this, and they can just focus on their child. So yeah, this is a huge event, and I know, I mean, they raise thousands of dollars each and every year for this event. Can you remember any of the totals, or just how much maybe some of the previous years that you remember?
Well, it's all north of $1 million, and it goes up each and every year. And so this event, I think, has raised something in the neighborhood of $1.2 million last year, $100, you know, at a time. Mm-hmm. And so that'll give you some idea of the odds that you face. But in addition to the great prizes that you can win today and today only, that season tickets to the Grizzlies, season tickets to the Tigers, and the weekend getaway right there, as you can see on your screen, at the Peabody. And of course, the Dream Home. You're eligible to win the Dream Home if you buy a ticket. as the process goes forward, you know, there are cars that become available and your choice vehicles from our friends at Wolf Chase Toyota and Wolf Chase Nissan. There are jewelry prizes. There are a variety of other fantastic prizes that anybody would love to win. And they're going to be eligible if you buy this $100 ticket, and especially if you get it today, because today's the day to get the season ticket deal with the Grizz and the Tigers and the Peabody. So the time to act is here, Amanda. The time to act is now 1-800-224-6681, or you can click on dreamhome.org and you'll be linked directly into your purchase, and you just add your credit card information to that secure site, and you'll be able to say, hey, I got a ticket, and you don't have to buy just one. You can get as many as you want. So there you have it.
Yeah. Well, Joe, I appreciate you taking some time to kind of join me here on the Digital Desk. You got up early. You set that alarm. How early did you go to bed last night? Were you able to get some sleep, or was it difficult since you're used to the late hours?
I will tell you a secret.
Please.
Nobody in the station knows, okay, except Brittany Bryant. I told her a little earlier. Set the alarm. The alarm went off, and I went back to sleep. It was so early, but I miraculously awakened in time to get ready and to get here on time. And so I'm very grateful that that worked out. You know, I've been on the late shift literally since 1982. And so to go on the morning shift is a bit of an adjustment, but I made it.
Oh, yeah.
I made it by a nose, but I made it.
Absolutely. You know, it's so funny. So when I used to work like the early morning hours where you'd come in at 3 o'clock in the morning, I would go to bed around 5. And so I'd set my alarm. And there was one morning where I woke up and I turned over and it said 7 o'clock. And I thought it was 7 a.m. And so I'm getting up and rushing to get ready. And then it turned out it was just 7 p.m. But it looked, you know, 7 a.m., 7 p.m. It looked about the same outside. So, yeah, those morning hours, they're tough. Yeah. So. Well, Joe, I appreciate it, and I'll let you get back to it. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you so much, Amanda. And folks, don't forget to go to dreamhome.org or call 1-800-224-6681. There you see it on your screen. And if you intend to buy a ticket, if you say, oh, yeah, the St. Jude Dream Home, I know I've always wanted to do that. Well, don't procrastinate. Today is the day to get it because you get the season ticket deal with the Grizz and the Tigers and the Peabody, and you qualify for all the other prizes, which are all fantastic, including the Dream Home. So thank you for helping St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in our effort to promote that great cause that helps save lives. So thank you, Amanda.
Thank you, Joe. I'll see you a little bit later on. Back to the news of the day. We always love having Joe Birch here on the Digital Desk and appreciate his time, of course. Decertification hearings for several of the former Memphis officers involved in the death of Tyre Nichols were held in Nashville. 5 of the 7 had their case read for the state's post-commission or peace officer standards and training. Action News 5's Parker King was there and has more about it.
For 5 former Memphis police officers, Thursday's hearing here in Nashville was one step closer to these men never being allowed to practice law enforcement in the state of Tennessee for their involvement in the death of Tyre Nichols. Demetrius Haley, Emmett Martin, and Justin Smith were all recommended for decertification. Lieutenant Dwayne Smith, who was able to retire before being fired for his involvement in the Nichols traffic stop, wasn't recommended because he'd not yet been served. Finally, Desmond Mills already surrendered his license earlier this week. His attorney, Blake Ballin, told us this doesn't impact his client's defense in the criminal case. Ballin said Mills just doesn't want to be a police officer anymore.
Frankly, this is a foregone conclusion. They're going to revoke these officer certification. I have no doubt about that. This is not important to Mr. Mills at this time. What's important to him is his family and his freedom.
The decision to seal the deal on decertifying the first 3 and accepting Mills's surrender will happen at the Post-Commission's formal meeting Friday morning. The 2 other former Memphis police officers, Preston Hemphill and Tadarius Bean, have also been recommended for decertification. A Post spokesperson told us they've not yet been put on a Post agenda, but that they soon will be. In Nashville, Parker King, Action News 5.
You know, we were just talking about the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway. It comes with some of the biggest prize packages in the campaign's history. Tickets are available right now. We're trying to hype it up for you. We want to let you know how you can get tickets, where you can get tickets, and that they're available now. We also have some huge prizes we're going to tell you about in just a minute, about what's out there. And of course, this is all about saving lives, helping kids and families as they go through their battle with cancer. It's a mission that is so near and dear to so many of us here in the Memphis area because it's located right here in our backyard. And so we want to share some of the stories and why fundraisers like this are so important and the families that it benefits.
Work at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Each one of them is special in their own way. But there's something extra special about Marshetta Brasley Rogers.
Oh my gosh.
If her bright smile, contagious friendliness, and tender spirit don't grab your attention, her love for the work she does at St. Jude certainly will.
It is very fulfilling when I work with patients and families to help them understand that they have control over the things that happen to them, over the direction that their life takes. And I can help them to exercise that.
For more than a decade, Brasley Rogers worked as a teacher and administrator in public schools. She currently serves as school advocacy coordinator for the St. Jude School Program by Chili's, a job she never saw herself doing.
I knew that St. Jude was here, and I knew that they served kids with cancer. I saw the commercials, but I didn't know that there was even a place for me here as an educator. When I saw that they had a school and there was an opening for someone that would like to connect patients and families with school resources, I thought, oh, that's me. That's my jam.
3 years later, and Brasley Rogers is still rocking and rolling with the life-saving hospital. The native Memphian has a bachelor's in music therapy from Tennessee Technological University, but she found her true calling when she got her second degree from a school in...
Yes, ma'am. Big Memphis.
The one and only University of Memphis. The Tiger alum says she loved her previous job, but she knew she had to go back to school to fulfill her true passion.
Every Monday, I got to work in schools in the special education classroom, and I liked my job, but I loved Mondays. I loved Mondays. And so after about a year doing that, I thought I could like my job and love one day, or I could go back to school and love every day.
Brasley Rogers can confirm she loves all 5 days of her work week at St. Jude, and here's one of the many reasons why.
As I was having lunch and I dropped my water in the floor, and I went to clean it up and I couldn't find it because the floor was so shiny, it was just so clean. And I thought, you know, everyone here takes such pride in the work that they do because they know that in the end, it's in service of children, from people that clean the building to people that research medicine to school coordinators to the doctors. Everybody just does such a great job because we understand what the end is.
An end that will hopefully lead to a new beginning, a world where kids live cancer-free.
And you can be a part of it and win big in the process. If you reserve your tickets for the St. Jude Dream Home giveaway today, you can get an extra prize package, which is pretty awesome. I was telling you about it when we had Joe here on the digital desk. Now, it is the ultimate Memphis basketball experience. Check it out. Memphis Grizzlies season tickets, Memphis Tigers season tickets, and that Peabody weekend giveaway. That is only if you purchase your tickets today. So make sure if you see this and you're like, ooh, that looks awesome, I would love my chance to win that package. Well, $100, and you can get your ticket. And here's the phone number if you need it: 1-800-224-6681. You can also go to dreamhome.org and purchase your tickets. I want to give you another look, though, at the actual Dream Home. You see it right here in Arlington, 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and valued at a whopping $575,000. So it is a 3-bedroom, 3.5-bath. Let me stand corrected. A chef-inspired kitchen, a huge outdoor living space, and it can be all yours for $100. And then, of course, we were telling you about that added bonus of the ultimate Memphis basketball experience. Memphis Grizzlies season tickets, Memphis Tigers season tickets. I mean, I would pay $100 just for this prize package for a chance to win it. Also, that Peabody weekend giveaway. So that's a big thing that we're following today. We're encouraging people to go get their tickets now. But another thing that we're really paying attention to is the weather out there. It is a first alert weather day, and that is why we have meteorologist Aaron Thomas joining us at the digital desk this morning to talk more about it. Aaron, I've been watching a lot of the weather cameras. This is our downtown camera. I can see the rain coming down already. So let's dive in, talk about some of the timing, what people need to be worried about.
Yes, so today is a first alert weather day here for the Mid-South. And the rain that we're getting this morning, that is actually not the severe part of it. That's going to be arriving later on today. But I want to show you what's happening on our radar right now at 9:58 this morning. We've got some clouds and we've got that line of showers that's kind of right along the I-40 corridor. And then for areas to the south of there, we've had some heavier pockets of rain, but again, this is not the severe portion of the first alert weather day. So what's going to happen as we're heading into the next several hours is we're going to see these start to lift back towards the north as that stationary front does lift northward. And there will be some spots, especially for North Mississippi, that is going to get a break today. And that is going to be especially harmful potentially for North Mississippi in regarding the severe weather that we'll have later on today. So areas to the north, like up towards Dyersburg, Brownsville, the Boot Hill of Missouri, they could still see some showers through the lunch hour or so. And then again, notice how we all kind of start to dry out for a little bit as we're heading into the afternoon. Here comes the cold front as we're heading into evening. So by 4 o'clock, it's starting to line up to the west of us, making its way through Little Rock. And then by 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock this evening, pushing into the Mid-South, crossing over the river. And this is going to be whenever that severe weather will be possible. So we're going to dry out for a little bit this afternoon. Warm air is going to usher in. The atmosphere is going to become more unstable, and that's going to help set the stage for this cold front moving in later on this evening. So notice by 6:30, 7 o'clock, widespread rain. Some of it will be on the heavier side. We'll have all modes of severe weather possible here. It's going to continue moving eastward as we're heading into the evening. 9 o'clock or so over throughout Lafayette County, Ashland, Mississippi, Corinth, Hardeman, McNairy counties there in West Tennessee going to be dealing with the storms. Luckily, by 11 o'clock or so, we should be getting this line out of here. But again, all modes of severe weather will be possible. It's not very often that we do see a level 4 risk that is issued by the Storm Prediction Center. That level 4 is also known as a moderate risk, and it's that area that's highlighted in red. So again, those areas to the north of us getting some rain now, it's going to help out a little bit as far as stabilizing the atmosphere. There still is a level 3 threat, so don't let your guard down. I mean, even if you're in Tipton, Lauderdale, Haywood, Crockett counties, Mississippi County, Arkansas, still all modes of severe weather possible. But North Mississippi especially, that is going to be the area that we're really going to be watching as all modes of severe weather possible with high winds, heavy rain, and even tornadoes will be the main concern here. This severe outlook breaks it down a little bit in more detail, showing you that our main concern is going to be that heavy rain where we could see some localized flooding, but also damaging winds will be another primary threat as well. And as mentioned, there is that tornado threat. It is on the lower end, but it's not quite zero. So again, something that we're going to be monitoring. So as we're heading into this evening and through the late evening hours, especially 9, 10, 11 o'clock, make sure you do have a way to receive weather alerts. And you can always download our app for that. It's a free download. You'll have interactive radar there at the palm of your hand, but also if there are any warnings that are issued or watches that are issued from the National Weather Service, you will get that sent to your phone directly, and it will be for your specific location. It's also going to be windy as we're heading throughout the day today and into tonight as well. So there is a wind advisory that is in effect for the Action News 5 area. We're getting those winds that are picking up now around 25 to 30 miles per hour, and they're going to continue at this rate as we're heading throughout this afternoon and this evening. And they're going to be ushering in some southerly warm air. And remember, heat is the fuel for thunderstorms. So we are going to be seeing that warm air ushered in, bringing in some more instability to the Mid-South. And as far as heavy rainfall, that is a concern, yes. But I do think those heavier rainfall amounts will be for areas to the north, like up towards Blytheville, Dyersburg, and Brownsville, where they could see about 1 inch to 2.5 inches of rain. I do think that there will be lesser amounts for areas to the south, but still heavy rain is going to be possible across North Mississippi. And then once we get past this evening, we're going to be smooth sailing as we're heading into your upcoming weekend. We're going to see a mix of sun and clouds both Saturday and Sunday. And your 7-day forecast is going to be mainly dry, a couple showers on Sunday and Thursday next week. But yes, we do have that first alert weather day for today, mainly from 6 p.m. to midnight tonight, probably closer toward 7 o'clock for Memphis specifically with that severe weather moving in.
Good deal. And I know you were talking about the strong winds. That's obviously a big deal. And then I know areas in Mississippi, they have that level 4. It's not very often we get a level 4. Is that right?
Yeah. So whenever we see a level 4 from the Storm Prediction Center, you know that there's a significant threat for severe weather. These are issued only whenever there is that really significant threat. Just it gets your attention. So whenever we start seeing that red, that level 4, we don't have a level 5 for today. That is also very rare, but level 4s are rare. And so that really has grabbed our attention. And that's why we're going to be watching for those areas specifically. And let me go into this graphic real quick and we can zoom in even further. So that actually does encompass a section of Shelby County, this level 4 threat. So notice there within the 240 loop, downtown, midtown, areas to the south included in that level 4 threat. Now, I've mentioned this every time we have severe weather. Just because you are, let's say Williston, for example, you're in the orange here in Fayette County. Take that with a grain of salt. Storms do not know these hand-drawn boundaries. These colors that you see here, these are drawn by somebody from the Storm Prediction Center. So take it with a grain of salt. You're right there on the edge. All modes of severe weather are going to be possible. And that even is the case for Blytheville and Dyersburg and Covington. All modes of severe weather will still be possible. It's just that the higher chance, the best area to see that some of those storms, that'll be for portions of North Mississippi. But we're going to be watching everywhere.
Absolutely. And like you said, these storms don't know these boundaries and these lines that are drawn by meteorologists and those that are putting together these models. And like you said, so they could vary a little bit. I know you're mentioning that the main threat between 6 p.m. and midnight. What about when the kids get out of school? Is there going to be anything that parents need to be worried about?
Let's take a look at our first alert futurecast, and that way we can have a visual as I time it all out for you. So we're still going to have some showers as we head throughout this morning, but notice by lunchtime or so, those showers start to lift to the north. So it depends on where you are. If you're down towards Clarksdale, Mississippi, Oxford, Mississippi, Ashland, Corinth, you're going to be seeing dry conditions throughout late morning into the early afternoon. But through lunchtime or so, if you're up towards Dyersburg, Brownsville, you are going to be seeing some of those showers. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, generally when school starts to let out, there could be some light rain up towards Dyersburg and the Missouri Boot Hill. But notice here how the Action News 5 viewing area actually going to be mainly dry around 3 o'clock. So that'll be good for whenever school does dismiss. However, that dry air is going to allow us to warm up. And so that's going to help set the stage for storms later on this evening. So I think those are going to start moving in around 5 o'clock throughout eastern Arkansas. And then generally by 6 o'clock or so, lining up there right along the Mississippi River. Crossing over, we should see those moving in right around 6:30, 7 o'clock here for the Memphis area specifically. And then we will continue to see that push eastward through 9 o'clock or so. So it really just depends on your location as far as that exact timing. But for school dismissal at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we go back on First Alert Futurecast. You can see looking at a mainly dry air mass here, a couple sprinkles possible, especially for areas north. But I'm not anticipating any major concerns for school dismissal around 3 o'clock this afternoon for any location.
And you know, another reason paying attention to that timing and like where you are, you were saying it all depends on where you are. That's why it's important to have that weather app too, because it will pinpoint where you are and give you the info that you need specifically for the area you're in. So that's what I love about the weather app. I think it's always great. And I know you have the graphic here. It's free. So why not have it on your phone? It could help save your life if there's severe weather that comes through your area. So Aaron, I guess I know you're busy, but before we let you go, any last things you want to make sure to leave people with?
I think it's always good to go over a severe weather safety plan with your family. Do you guys know where you're going to go in the house if there is a warning issue? Does everyone know the plan? There's a lot of homes in this region that don't have basements because of our proximity to the Mississippi River. There are a few homes, so of course basements will be the best bet if you have one. But other than that, you're going to want to make sure that your family knows where to go if there's a warning. So that would primarily be an interior room of your home, one that doesn't have windows. So those are usually closets, those are usually bathrooms. But I would just go over your severe weather safety plan with your family. And, you know, if there's a warning that's issued at 10 o'clock tonight and some of us are going to be asleep at that point. I know I will be, but you want to make sure that you have a way to receive those weather alerts. Have your phone next to you with the notification on. A NOAA weather radio is also a great tool to have as well. And so just review that with your family, make sure everyone is on the same page, knows what to do, knows where to go. Because with these severe storms, I mean, you could have all the notifications you want, but if there's no plan in place, that's, you know, an issue in and of itself. So have that severe weather safety plan, that talk with your family, and just make sure everyone is up to date on where to go and how to handle that situation if there's any warnings issued.
For sure. And make sure you have your cell phones charged, because with the wind, we're talking about the wind today. There's power outages. I mean, it seems like every time the wind thinks about blowing, we have power outages here in the Memphis area. So make sure you have your phones charged so you can get those weather alerts on your phone. You can also stay up to date with anything else if we're going wall to wall with severe weather coverage. So Aaron, I appreciate you. I appreciate you take some time to make sure that we get that information out there to make sure people are weather aware so they can be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll be in for midday today, and then we've got both Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers and Meteorologist Spencer Denton that will be with you guys later on this evening, tag teaming this. That's a great duo there. They know what they're talking about. They are very good at catching things on radar. So yes, we're going to be wall to wall if necessary, but I know Ron and Spencer will be keeping safe as we head throughout this evening.
Good deal. Well, thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it. All right, let's get back into some of the news of the day. It's something I think all of us pretty much dread, and that's trips to the dentist. I don't like them. I'm sure you don't like them either. While regular office visits are important, there's a lot that you can do at home to make the cleaning and checkup a little bit easier on you. But with so many options, from brushes, flosses, toothpaste, what to choose can sometimes be pretty confusing. You don't know what's going to be the best thing for you, and that's why Action News 5's Ariana Poindexter is revealing what really matters when unlocking the secrets to cleaner, healthier teeth.
You heard the advice for years. Brush your teeth twice a day and floss. When it comes to how to most effectively do that, it gets a bit more complicated. Manual or electric toothbrush, soft or hard bristles, string or water flosser. And let's not even get started on the unending options for toothpaste. What to choose?
A lot of times the right choice depends really on what you like and what you'll actually use, but there are some products and strategies that do have clear advantages over others.
In the battle of manual versus electric toothbrushes, research suggests that electric toothbrushes have a slight edge when it comes to cleaning away plaque. They can also be a great option if you have braces or for people with dexterity limitations. Still, it's possible to do a great job cleaning your teeth even with a manual brush.
No matter what kind of toothbrush you use, opt for one with soft bristles because hard bristles are more likely to damage your gums and enamel.
NCR's test, the Oral-B IO7 series, got top scores for cleaning and battery performance. Now for the toothpaste, be sure to look for one that contains fluoride. If you want a whitening toothpaste, the ADA seal of acceptance is a good sign that it won't damage your enamel. And for people who hate flossing with string, will a water flosser get the job done?
Water flossers, like those made by Waterpik, do a good job of removing debris and food from between your teeth, but they don't quite match up with string floss when it comes to scraping bacteria off the surface of your teeth.
Still, using a water flosser is still much better than not flossing at all, so choose either with string or water and floss once a day.
And one last tip, remember to brush for at least 2 minutes. It might surprise you, but the American Dental Association says most people brush for less than half of that time. With your bottom line report, I'm Ariana Poindexter, Action News 5.
So we want to let you know about a traffic stop that ended in gunfire. Memphis police say around 3:30 Thursday, they tried to pull over a gray Nissan near Mark Twain and Pueblo Avenue in Frazier. When the suspect drove off, crashed into a curb, and then ran off. Police ran after the suspects. Shots were fired between the driver and the officers in the 3500 block of Denver. No one was hurt. The driver was arrested. Police are still looking for one more suspect in that case. So the clock is ticking for Shelby County Clerk Wanda Halbert. Mayor Lee Harris says that she has until close of business day today to choose a new location for her Poplar Plaza office. If not, she could lose her job. The lease on the Poplar Plaza clerk's office is up at the end of June. In a letter to Halbert, Mayor Harris expressed concern that Halbert is running out of time to choose a new location and have it ready for customers. Mayor Harris also mentioned how the district attorney's office and the county commission have the ability to act under state law when a county clerk is, quote, not doing her duty. Harris says if he doesn't get a response, he will be forced to call a special meeting of the commission. So how old is too old to be in the Shelby County juvenile court system? There's an effort to increase that age to those served by juvenile court to 24. Action News 5's Joyce Peterson tells us why they want to do it.
The carrot works more effectively than the stick does.
During a Lunch and Learn Zoom with Shelby County Voter Alliance, Juvenile Court Judge Tarek Sugarman emphasized alternatives to locking up young offenders.
We have to do a better job, and I say we as a community, that are delivering services to children and their families, of educating and letting them know what programs are available.
Programs like housing assistance for families with truant children, travel vouchers to get to and from school, and job skills training for at-risk teens.
It's important, again, to engage the youth, because what we do for you that doesn't include you will hurt you.
When the new Youth Justice and Education Center opens this summer, Judge Sugarman says it will offer better ways to engage and train incarcerated children, better ways than the existing detention center inside juvenile court on Adams.
It has a culinary kitchen. It has a full basketball court inside with a stage. It has a computer lab. So what youth are not getting in the way of training currently, and they still have a full curriculum here, but we want to expand that.
Right now, Shelby County Juvenile Court has jurisdiction over a child until he or she turns 19. Judge Sugarman says there's a movement to increase that age to 24.
Their minds are not fully formed. Science now backs this up. So if we had extended jurisdiction over these youth up until, say, their mid-20s, 24, 25, to continue them in the juvenile process, we have a greater opportunity of restoring those youth, rehabilitating those youth, and making them productive, turning them into the productive citizens that everybody should try to develop their children into.
That was Joyce Peterson reporting there. Judge Sugarman defeated longtime juvenile court judge Dan Michael last November, running on a justice reform platform. Back in 2016, Judge Michael tried to convince the state legislature to increase juvenile court jurisdiction to age 25. That was unsuccessful. So 2 of the 4 men charged with murdering Memphis rapper Young Dolph will be in court a little bit later on this morning. That's Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith. They've been in jail accused of killing the rapper in November of 2021. Also charged Hernandez Govin. He's accused of hiring the 2 men to carry out the murder, and Jamarcus Johnson, who helped the men after the shooting happened. How about some lighter news? I think we all need that, right?
He said it's a lot, but it's
Talking about the Memphis Grizzlies. Grizzlies beat the Rockets Wednesday 130 to 125, and Ja came off the bench for the first time in his Grizzlies career during that game. He says there's a possibility he does it again when these same 2 teams meet tonight at the FedEx Forum. Tip-off at 7 o'clock. Happening in the Mid-South. How about that singing? One song at a time. Theater students at St. Agnes Academy High School boarded a bus and took their hearts and talents around the city to spread happiness throughout the city. Students embarked on their annual Spread the Love Tour, a tradition that started 8 years ago with a simple goal: sharing their songs with people around the community who otherwise are not able to attend the show. The first stop on the tour, St. Vincent de Paul. These students, who are currently in rehearsals for their upcoming performance of the musical Newsies, said the Spread the Love Tour is never just a concert.
It's with so much joy to be able to spread what we love with everyone else, because we spend every day rehearsing and just doing what we love and putting it on the stage, and now we get to share that with everyone else whenever we travel around.
And just seeing how happy they get and how, like, I don't know, when you go to places like that, they always reminisce on like what they've done too, and you get to hear about their experiences, and that's always so nice.
The students also performed at Ave Maria Nursing Home, Madonna Learning Center, and Shepherd's Haven. Juneteenth is closer to becoming an official state holiday here in Tennessee. The state Senate passed a bill that would make Juneteenth a legal holiday instead of a day of observance. Juneteenth celebrates the end of slavery in the U.S. It became an official federal holiday 2 years ago. The bill goes before a House subcommittee next Tuesday. Well, how about this? Ford says that it's going to lose $3 billion on sales of its electric vehicles to consumers this year. The automaker says the electric vehicle losses and overall profit come before expenses from interest and taxes. Ford says it expects electric vehicles to start making money soon, though, going from a 40% operating loss margin last year to an 8% profit margin by the end of 2026. So the news comes before a progress update expected today on Blue Oval City, Ford's multi-billion-dollar investment to build electric vehicles here in West Tennessee. Well, do you remember going to Blockbuster, picking out your favorite movie, maybe video game? I remember it being a weekend tradition for me and my family. Well, what's old is new again, and that could mean a comeback for Blockbuster Video. The old movie rental company has restored its website with a message reading, "We are working on rewinding your movie." Blockbuster was pushed out of the market with the start of movie rentals by mail, and then streaming services like Netflix. The stores were franchised. One still remains in Oregon, believe it or not. It's so funny because I actually found my old Blockbuster card the other day, probably back from when I was in elementary school. I don't know. I think it'd be exciting. I used to love going. I would rent old movies. It's a blast. So this is good news to me. I love it. So there are 500,000 open heart surgeries done in the United States every year and a half, and those patients require a blood transfusion. So that's why the need for blood is so dire at all times. But what if you had a complication during a transfusion in the past, or if for religious reasons it forbids that you receive blood? Well, Action News 5's Andrew Douglas has more on bloodless heart surgery. Look at this.
It is a major life-saving procedure, but it can also cause significant blood loss. Open heart surgery presents special challenges for patients who must avoid blood transfusions. Cardiovascular surgeon Dr. John Puskas says one key is to prepare well before the patient is wheeled into the operating room.
We give patients something called erythropoietin, a hormone that increases their blood counts prior to surgery.
For bypass patients, Dr. Puskas and his colleagues can use a new surgical technique.
We do this all arterial, no aortic touch operation, meaning we don't connect any of the bypass grafts to the aorta.
By avoiding the aorta, doctors minimize blood loss. The no-touch bypass surgery means they can also avoid putting a patient on a heart-lung machine, which lowers the risk of blood loss. And if patients do lose blood, doctors use a medical procedure to safely recycle it.
Washed, centrifuged, and returned to the patient so that we use these cell savers or cell salvage devices in the operating room.
It's medical techniques that save lives and allow doctors to respect patients' wishes. There are now about 100 hospitals in the U.S. with specialized programs that can accommodate bloodless or transfusion-free surgeries. Some people have religious beliefs that require them to avoid transfusions, and others have conditions that cause allergic reactions to blood during transfusions. With ways to live your best life, I'm Andrew Douglas, Action News 5.
Well, if you're getting a tax refund, you may want to start figuring out how you plan to use that money to work for you. And in this Watching Your Wallet, consumer investigator Rachel DePompa spoke with an expert about ways to do that.
Getting a big check back from the government, it can be fun, but Nathan Grant, a senior finance industry analyst with MoneyTips.com, says you really need to plan out how you're going to spend every dollar of that refund. Two of the most common ways are to pay off high-interest debt like a credit card, or by using the money to replenish your emergency savings account. He says both of these options are great, but it's also okay to use a portion of the money for something like a home improvement project.
While it might not be maybe the best thing that you want to do, getting it out of the way when you do get money from something like a tax return, it might prevent future headaches, because it might be one of those things that as you put it off, the risks get higher.
Grant says it's also okay to let yourself do something fun with your tax return, or maybe use some of that money to buy a want instead of a need, especially if it's something that's going to help you down the road.
Sometimes it is nice to use a tax return for something like funding travel, or getting maybe like replacing a phone or a computer that's old, where it's like, yeah, you need to replace it, but it's kind of more of a want than a need.
Whatever idea you come up with for your tax return, think about it before you act. And if you stick with the tried and true paying down high interest debt, he says that will benefit you the most in the long run. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Central Station Memphis has anchored the corner of Main and G.E. Patterson since 1914.
And served the Pacific Railroad line for many years. And there's been many incarnations of this building, but has been open and in use in Memphis since then.
The station was virtually abandoned and deserted after World War II until 2019. Central Station's general manager explains.
It was repurposed as a hotel. So it's a Hilton Curio flagged hotel. It's a great story and a great partnership between Kemmons Wilson, McLean Wilson, and Henry Turley, the city of Memphis, Amtrak, MATA, all really in partnership to repurpose this area, which in total was about 17 acres of property, to convert that into this hotel. You have the Melco Theater next door and the South Bluff complex that we're adjacent to as well.
Central Station Memphis is like most Hilton Curios, a unique local property transformed into new life.
The Curio flag is kind of a boutique arm of the Hilton umbrella, and I think honestly this is it's like the third Curio that I've worked at, but easily I think the most unique.
And the local flavor that runs throughout the hotel is intentional.
What we try for every day is to have a really Memphis rich experience for everyone, and that's articulated in the story of the hotel, of being the train station.
From the artwork in the lobby.
As you come into the hotel, this is also part of the welcome in the lobby experience.
To the 8 and Sand Bar and Lounge, where guests can sip craft cocktails while listening to Memphis jams and flip through the Memphis-inspired vinyl collection.
It's almost 4,000 records that all have a Memphis tie, whether it was recorded in Memphis, Memphis artist, a song about Memphis.
Guests can also enjoy live DJs on an organ-turned turntable, where Memphians are known to hang out with out-of-town hotel guests.
And it's a wonderful cross-section of all of Memphis, age, race, gender. It's a great to see, yeah.
The walls of the 123 guest rooms with speaker-inspired mini fridges also hold custom artwork. In this case, photographs taken along Amtrak's City of New Orleans passenger line, which still stops at Central Station twice a day.
What Jamie Harmon did was rode the City of New Orleans line from New Orleans to Chicago and back, and just snap photos from the train, would hop off the train, and thematically, they're pretty random. But when it ties into the story and really where we've sat in the history of Memphis and being on the train line, it's like, Oh, well, that's kind of cool.
Even the guest floor hallways are rail inspired.
Even the carpet was meant to resemble a train track and a train line as well. So the tile that you see in the hallway is original tile from 1914.
Although reminders of the past abound, you'll find visual surprises in the renovated meeting and event spaces too.
Some of the paintings, large and small, like every corner would be another kind of point of discovery, kind of using it as a big backdrop for a gallery and forgetting that you were even once kind of in a train station.
Take a trip to the hotel's ground floor and you'll find the French Brassiere Bishop.
And the service is fabulous.
From superstar chefs Andy Ticer and Mike Hudman, featuring Southern French fare, served for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You can even order it to your room.
We really want to be Memphis's living room, to come explore, work, travel, rest, eat, sleep, just all of it. We really want to be an active participant and really hub of all great things culturally and travel in the city of Memphis.
Central Station, Memphis, transforming our past into the future. Another reason we love calling this place home. In the South Main Historic District, Kim Clark, Action News 5.
Good morning. This just in, a wind advisory issued for every single county here in our in the Mid-South that lasts from 1 p.m. through 3 a.m. And that's because those wind gusts could get over 40 miles per hour. I've already seen 30 to 35 mile per hour gusts. We'll keep those close to 30 miles per hour through the morning. But again, after 1 o'clock, those winds could spike even higher, especially in eastern Arkansas later on tonight. If you get a severe thunderstorm, though, those winds could go over 50 miles per hour. That red color there, that's the area that has the greatest instability, all those ingredients there for severe weather. Now, if I zoom in closer, you'll notice that red, or that 4 out of 5 risk level, does include most of North Mississippi, several counties in eastern Arkansas, Helena, West Helena included in this, as well as Forest City, and part of Shelby County too. I don't want you to get too hung up with exactly where it starts and ends, though, because all of us have a threat for severe weather. Even for the rest of West Tennessee, there's a 3 out of 5. The main thing that we'll see with these thunderstorms will be severe thunderstorm warnings because of damaging wind gusts. However, this area highlighted in red in North Mississippi that I was talking about, that spot has the greatest threat for tornadoes. And let me show you why. So right now we have a line of thunderstorms moving through some areas in eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee, way north of I-40 right now. Memphis southward has been mostly dry through the morning. We may squeeze out a stray shower, though, as we go through the morning and this afternoon through lunchtime. I'm not completely ruling out rain anywhere here in the Mid-South, but you'll notice the bulk of this is over towards Harrisburg and Wynne, Blytheville, Dyersburg, even into Ripley, Tennessee, and Brownsville. Might see some of that rain, but North Mississippi continues to remain dry for the entire afternoon. We'll keep it dry there. And this is 4 o'clock today. Notice we're even seeing breaks in the clouds in North Mississippi. So instability will be skyrocketing in this area in North Mississippi, which is why that risk level is higher there. By 6:30, 7 o'clock tonight, the main line starting to work into eastern Arkansas. There could be some isolated severe thunderstorms out ahead of this. So see those little circles there? Those are those isolated storms near Holly Springs and Batesville and Oxford. That line pushes through Shelby County and the rest of West Tennessee and North Mississippi around 9 or 10 o'clock tonight, but this is out of here after midnight, and you'll be done with all that rain finally. Rainfall totals with this system will be around 1 inch to 1.5 inches for most of us. Could get up to 2 inches near Blytheville and Dyersburg, but we'll see that heavy rain early in the day. And we have temperatures near 80 degrees, helping to fuel those thunderstorms with all the warm air and that moisture in place. 80 degrees in Memphis, 76 is the high in Brownsville, only 71 in Dyersburg, so the rain going to keep temperatures down there, but areas where it's dry today, 83 in Clarksdale, mid-80s in Oxford and Ashland. Will also top out around 80 degrees in Helena and Marianna, but again, where we'll see rain, a little cooler, 71 in Harrisburg and Blytheville today. This weekend looks really great, though. 72 degrees on Saturday, 73 on Sunday, and we get sunshine this weekend. We'll see a little bit more cloud cover late in the day Sunday and may even see a stray shower, but most of the area remains dry. And behind Sunday night's cold front, temperatures drop down to the 60s next week.
I'm doing something that I love to do.
So am I, pure and simple.
You don't do this for 26 years if you don't like it.
This month's Mid-South heroes are a pair of crossing guards with the Germantown Police Department who put on the uniform and a smile each and every day. Peggy Grammer has been a crossing guard for more than a decade, while her co-worker, Faye Lester, has been at it for over 25 years. These two are at their posts every morning and afternoon, dealing with traffic, parents, and weather.
The worst part for me is lightning. I don't mind the rain. I don't mind the cold. I don't like the hot, but I do not like lightning. Do not.
And I'm basically the same. The lightning really is the hardest part of standing out here.
I can deal with the cars. Just keep the lightning away.
I've actually been hit, not hard, by a car, but really, it's just all in a day's work.
Faye and Peggy can be seen weekdays at area schools like Houston Middle, directing parent traffic, bus traffic, and their favorite part of the job, helping students cross busy streets.
That's the draw. You just love the kids.
Faye's the best. You don't do this job for the money or anything. You do this job for your love of the kids. And there's nothing like these babies. I mean, they're like our grandkids. They're ours, and I even have kids come back with their kids. So yeah, it's an awesome job, and that makes me feel happy that I make someone else happy.
You see them every day. You know if they're having a bad day or whatever, you're going to know it because you're one of the first people that see them.
These two heroes have a simple but important request.
These kids' lives are important, and trying to get people to stop and let us get these kids safely across the street, some days it's all we can do. And if people would just take a moment to realize that these kids' lives are in really big danger, it would be nice. Just slow down just a little bit. You might get to where you're going 2 or 3 minutes later, but you're going to get there, and our kids are going to be safe.
It's scary sometimes how close they come. Just have patience with us because we're doing the best we can, and sometimes it isn't a difficult situation. And kindness always wins out.
Congratulations, Faye and Peggy. You are this month's Mid-South heroes.
All right, well, the Memphis Office of Youth Services is putting on a Career and Technical Expo. It is coming up March 24th, and joining us now to talk more about it is Ike Griffith, Special Assistant to Mayor Jim Strickland and Director of the City Office of Youth Services and Community Affairs. Good morning. Glad to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about it. So this Career and Technical Expo, it's coming up towards the end of the month. What can people expect?
Well, our young people can expect over hundreds of vendors that's going to be giving them an opportunity to be hired for a regular job. What we're trying to do is get in front of the classes of 2023 and have something in place for these young people to look forward to once they walk across the stage and get their high school diploma. Many of our young people are not going to college, and we want to make sure that we provide an opportunity for them to be productive individuals in our society. So I do want to give a shout out to Channel 5, Mr. Jonathan Mitchell, for helping me to get the word out about this great event.
Oh, good stuff. Love Jonathan. I'm glad that he's helping to get the word out with that with you, and I'm glad you're on the digital desk today. You know, you were talking about all the vendors that are going to be there helping to give these opportunities to these young people. How important is it to be able to have a place where they can come? Everything's kind of a one-stop shop, and it's giving them opportunities. How important is that?
It is very important. As I mentioned earlier, many of our young people are not going to college, and to have vendors like TVA, who's one of my sponsors, cosmetology schools, electricians, plumbers, NASA, Ford Oval, Blue Oval, just I can go on and on and on, but it's so important to have a event of this caliber where people will be hiring on the spot. And we ask our young people to come looking the part along with your resume. That is so very important. That's the first step. Your first impression is the lasting one. So we really want to provide an opportunity for those youth so they can become productive individuals in our society. Not only high school students in Memphis, but we have invited high school students from Mississippi and Arkansas. Crime is just not around in our area. It's around us too. So we want to provide those same opportunities for those young people. So we are opening up our doors at 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock for our high school seniors. From 1 to 5, we will have our college students, opportunity youth, and adults. And our opportunity youth are those individuals that are school age, but not in school with no skills set. So we really want to make sure that we embrace all our young people in the city of Memphis and the surrounding area.
And those are some big name companies that you mentioned too. So these are good jobs, good opportunities, and they're out there for our young people. And so let's just talk about, I know you said there's going to be hundreds of vendors. What else can people expect, and what kind of other services are going to be out there for people?
Well, we have our Second Chance program that will be in effect. Also, we are providing opportunities for interviews for those companies that can embrace those children and the young adults and our college students. And we will have those vendors that will hire just with a high school education, and we will have vendors that will be hiring with college degrees. So it's so very important that we embrace all those vendors and thanking them, number one, for coming on board with us, like TVA and CTE program of Shelby County Schools, really just making this a big event. So we really are very excited about this event at the Renaissance Center, as I mentioned, just different careers that our young people can go into, or just have a major concern about looking into a particular career. We will have TCAT there. Will be giving away a scholarship to go to their facility. So it's just a variety of, opportunities for our young people. Training program, interviews, interactive career displays, Second Chance program, hiring on the spot. We're just really excited about this, and we really want our young people to take advantage of this. We're losing too many of our young people. And as you may know or may not know, the youth in this city is a top priority of Mayor Jim Strickland. So he has allowed me to just venture out to do whatever I possibly can to help our young people become successful individuals in our society.
And this definitely is a big step. This is big and helpful for our youth. And I'm curious, have y'all put an expo like this on in the past? Is this y'all's first time to do this? And if so, how many people are you expecting to be out here?
Well, hopefully thousands. This is our first time putting this on. Matter of fact, I was not budgeted in my budget to put this on, but I've been having great support of letting people know what we are trying to do to embrace our young people. Home structure is not like it used to be, and we need to be more aggressive in helping our young people become productive individuals in society. Each and every day, we constantly meet. We meet. As we are meeting, our youth are out here committing crime and other negatives in our society. So we need to meet in motion. We need to put in programs that's going to be beneficial, and also we need to have effective consequences for our young people. We are, as adults, to be quite honest, we are losing this battle with our children. So having a program of this caliber is so very important. And we ask parents to make our children do. Some things parents need to make their children do. They shouldn't have no choice. And this is one of the events that we hope parents will support us on, and so we can support their children.
Absolutely. And so I know you were saying that this is a big, investing in our youth and really focusing on our youth is a big thing for you, Mayor Strickland. Is that kind of how this expo kind of came about? Is this just kind of one of those things?
Well, I tell you, it came about just looking at data with the number of young people that may not be going to college, may not be attending college. So we got to find some positive things for our young people to do. And careers and technology is so valuable. It's so valuable because although we may have AI in our society now, but I've yet to see a machine fix hair. I've yet to see a machine come to your house and fix your plumbing. So there's a lot of careers that young people can go into and be successful in that process. And, just making our children do and take it a part of something that's positive is very, very important. So we need to embrace our young people. We need to show them the right things to do, put them on the right track, number one, and hopefully they'll be successful. Hopefully it'll also deter crime, because we have so many of our young people that we are losing each and every day. So we're all excited about putting on this Career Expo. We have invited, as I mentioned earlier, the school system in Memphis and the surrounding areas, college students, adults. So just take advantage of this opportunity and let's have a great summer.
Well, and I think this is awesome too, because it helps these young people to even know what kind of opportunity, what they are capable of, what they could do, what is out there for them that they can, grab and hold on to. So this is great. Real quick, can you kind of run over all those details again one last time, and then where people can go to get some more information?
Okay. Well, first of all, you can call our office at 901-636-6264. And this is Mayor Jim Strickland, Memphis Office of Youth Services Career and Technical Expo that will be held March 24th at the Renaissance Convention Center. And we ask our young people to come looking the part, bring your resumes, because we will have hundreds of vendors, interviews, second chance opportunities, hiring on the spot. And we ask our young people that are in high school from 9 to 1 will be designated for you as high school seniors. From 1 to 5 will be our college students, opportunity youth, and adults. And opportunity youth are those individuals that are school age, but not in school. Business attire, and bring your resume. So we're looking forward to seeing you, and I hope each and every one of you that come get hired on the spot.
All right. Well, Ike, I've enjoyed having you on. Thank you for taking some time to get out this information to our viewers, and good luck with the expo. I'm sure it's going to be great.
Thank you so very much.
All right, so Hugh Jackman, Kourtney Kardashian, Jennifer Aniston, J.Lo, Elon Musk, just a few of the people that swear by intermittent fasting. Is it really safe? How do you actually know you're doing intermittent fasting? What will it do for you? Would it help you reach your health goals in 2023? Let's bring in Dr. Amy Duffy here. She is the international best-selling author of Normal Doesn't Have Side Effects, and she has been a part of the Action News 5 digital desk in the past. We appreciate you coming on once again, Amy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I'm so excited to be here and share this information. It's super fun.
Yeah, I am a person that loves to intermittent fast myself. I do it at work, and I have kind of like a, 10 to 12 hour window. First, explain what it is for our audience out there and some of the different ways, because there's all kinds of different ways, I guess, to define intermittent fasting, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of ways. I kind of narrow it down to two different ways when I'm talking to my patients. I have the calendar way and I have the clock way. So the calendar way, this makes it a little bit more easy to process. Pick 2 days of the week, make sure they're not 2 days in a row. And on the 2 days that you X out here, you're going to fast those 2 days. On the other days, you can eat like normal. You can also adjust this different weeks throughout the month. So let's say you got a hot date one night, you want to adjust your time or something going on at work. So this way, it's super easy. A little bit more difficult to fast for a whole day. A lot of people start with something more like the clock way. So you're going to pick a time frame, a window, just like you described, where you're eating, and then a window where you're fasting or not eating. So let's imagine that you're going to start eating at noon and you're going to stop eating at 6 p.m. and then you don't resume eating until noon the next day. This makes it super easy because you're focused more on when you're eating and not just what you're eating. So you don't have to count carbs. You don't have to count calories. You want to have a glass of wine? Let's have a glass of wine. How about a beer? Sure, have a beer. Or you can even eat your favorite chocolate. Now, you're going to get better results for weight loss and overall health, cardiovascular, reducing the risk of diabetes, et cetera, if you're going to choose healthier foods, right? So eat your apple, have a salad for that meal. but it really is super simple and easy to follow. I get a lot of questions, Dr. Duffy, is this safe for us to do? And intermittent fasting can be really safe. In fact, we're seeing a lot of data. That's why doctors are loving it, that it really works, not just for weight loss, for actually reducing our risk of disease. So it's very safe, and we're really recommending it to a lot of people. The few people who need to pay attention, if you're diabetic and you're monitoring your blood sugar with either a blood sugar monitor, like when you're checking your blood on your finger, or you have one of those continuous glucose monitors, you want to make sure you talk to your doctor about that. This may be something you need to adjust. Or perhaps you're on medication and that medication needs to be taken with food, then you need to pay attention to the timing there or chat with your doctor about that. Outside of that, intermittent fasting, super safe, really easy to follow, and it works. That's why it's the #1 fad diet in America.
Is it really #1? Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. #1 fad diet in America. Gotcha. Let's get into specifics about the best candidates for intermittent fasting. Is there a certain body type? What about age groups?
Kids are growing, so we certainly don't want to restrict them. Usually kids are eating more for natural hunger, as opposed to sometimes we just want to eat because we're feeling munchy or something like that. So probably you want to wait until they're older teenagers or adults before they start fasting. But kids will actually naturally fast. They just don't eat when they're not hungry, right? So that's okay, age-wise. As we get older, really, there's no age limit where you would not want to intermittent fast. So that's pretty easy to do. Really, every body type is great. And one of the best things about intermittent fasting, it's not like the keto diet. Keto is okay, and you're going to get results from that, but it's really short-lived. It's hard to live in the keto world for a really long time. But once you start to get used to intermittent fasting, this can be something that you can do for life. So it's really a great thing for anybody who's trying to either maintain their weight or really try to lose weight. If you're going to lose weight, you may want to avoid some of those fun foods that we were talking about, at least in the beginning, until you get to your maintenance weight. But really, that's what's so great about intermittent fasting, is it really can be for anyone.
Yeah, it is. And it's something that I've enjoyed. I do it usually at work, and I don't generally do it on the weekends. But questions around intermittent fasting, because then some people ask, well, what about someone who doesn't eat all day or goes several days and all they have is, water or coffee or something like that? Is that safe? I always hear that when you do intermittent fasting, or when you fast for, let's say, a day or so, it really helps your cells. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there's actually studies that show really the magic happens when you're looking at reducing inflammation or regeneration of damaged cells, happens when you get into the 18 to 21 hour fast window and beyond that. So, for weight loss purposes, it's really great to start and simple to start with something like an 8-16 or a 16-8 fast. But when you're really trying to correct some dysfunction there or reduce inflammation, you want to get into those longer fasts. And there are some studies where doing a longer, 24-hour, 36-hour fast can really be beneficial, especially like for cancer. We're kind of starving the cancer, if you want to think about it that way. So there's some studies that really look around that. Of course, you want to make sure that you're hydrated. And again, if you're struggling with low blood sugar, things like that, then you just want to pay attention to that. Sometimes there are some foods that are allowed in the fasting. So some of those fasting days, there's some articles that talk about you can eat up to 500 calories, and that still would be considered a fast. There are other people who do what they call one meal a day. And basically they're fasting throughout the day and they just have one meal. So it's not even a window of, time 6 hours. It's just one meal a day. Again, the term intermittent fasting is important. So if you go to one meal a day, that's okay, but you may want to adjust that throughout your week in terms of what time that meal is, because if you do that every day for the rest of your life, your body's going to adapt to that. And then it's not really intermittent anymore. So, once you get into it, you may want to start adjusting that time frame a little bit.
What does it do for your metabolism? Does it speed it up? Does it slow it down? Do we know?
There's kind of this idea that people who are gaining weight or can't lose weight have a slow metabolism. And then people who can, it seems like they just have an unlimited amount of food that they can eat, but they're still skinny, have a fast metabolism. I don't know that that's really real. I mean, there's so many different variables that go into that. So intermittent fasting, I would say probably, whether you want to call it metabolism, but when you're fasting, it actually speeds up your body's ability to get stored fat. So you're not starving yourself. If you go into starvation mode over a long period of time, your body starts looking for energy in the form of your muscle. So it's going to use up muscle, where the ability with intermittent fasting is actually gathering your fat cells. So your metabolism improves in the fact that it's helping you to burn fat instead of burn calories from muscle or your food, basically. So it's really going to help you lose more fat.
All right, so if our viewers are interested, we've been talking about this for a few minutes, they're interested, they're like, okay, let me try this out. What would be your recommendation if someone wanted to try out intermittent fasting, Amy?
Yeah, that clock way is the easiest way, is just pick a window, between 6 and 8 hours that you're going to eat, and then the window between 16 to 18 hours that you're fasting. The easiest way, just like I described, is to start at noon, end at 6 or 7 p.m. That way you're sleeping through a good, if we're getting the 8 hours of sleep we're supposed to, you're sleeping during most of your fasting. A lot of people aren't starving first thing in the morning. You can have tea, you can have black coffee. You just don't want to consume a lot of calories. Make sure, you're still well hydrated. And then you just start eating again at lunchtime the next day. That is the easiest way to get started.
Awesome. Amy Duffy, we really appreciate your analysis, your insight on this. And thanks so very much. Happy New Year to you. Much success in 2023.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, that'll do it for us here at the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Don't forget, it is a First Alert weather day. We're going to have the latest updates at the top of the hour on midday. Hope you have a great rest of your day and an even better weekend. We'll see you back here bright and early Monday morning on the Action News 5 Digital Desk.